President of the Weslaco ISD Board of Trustees. This board workshop is being conducted in compliance with Texas Open Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. The board is meeting by the use of Google Meets and telephone transmission, which allows two-way communication for members of the public during public comments. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. The time now is 5:27, and I call this workshop to order. I'll now begin the roll call, calling each board member by name. Signify your presence by saying here or present when I call your name. Mr. Isidro Nieto.
Present.
Mrs. Jackie Sustaita.
Present.
Coach Jesse Trevino. I know he's here somewhere.
Yeah, he's in the back.
Dr. Jaime Rodriguez. Mr. Mark de los Santos.
Present.
And Mr. Andrew Gonzalez.
Present.
Okay, Coach Trevino is present.
Present.
Let the record show that a quorum of board members are in attendance. Item 3, public comments.
There are none.
Let's go to item 4, discussion on the 2022-2023 budget. Dr. Coronel.
Board President, members of the board, I'd like to present this is a budget workshop. I'd like to propose the compensation plan, which is also an item in the regular board agenda. This would also be the opportunity to make any significant changes or suggestions that you may have before we vote on it. So I'll briefly go over what the staff has come up with and in terms of affordability and where we're at financially, specifically when it comes to salaries. Next slide, please. So as again, if you remember, the last time the board had approved a organizational structure for administration, it was 2018. This is a new one that I am proposing that we adopt. Again, this streamlines, it narrows it somewhat. Have 2 assistant superintendents for school leadership. They take care of the feeder itself. The deputy superintendent with 4 executive directors, and then an assistant superintendent for teaching, learning, and innovation. Also the director of athletics and the executive director for district communications. Kind of streamlines some of the concerns that we have. I always talk about line and staff. The line itself will always be parent, student, teacher, principal, superintendent. That has to be the line. If you're not one of those positions, or parent or student, then you support the staff. So, but that's always the line that I talk about. Parent, student, teacher, principal, and superintendent. So that's the line. Next. The background on this, the TASB study was initiated in August 2021 by this school board. This will be the first time that our compensation plan will actually be live and available on the website. We took a lot of recommendations from TASB that was briefed on May 12th. We've aligned some positions and pay grades, consolidated some, and then what we did is we made some local market adjustments specifically for some of our auxiliary staff and our bus drivers. And then some of our positions were paid outside the pay structures, so we've had to reevaluate some of those, and we'll discuss those specifically. The goals and objectives, again, one, we wanted to establish an equity position and maintain peer equity within the same pay grades for internal. We wanted to make sure that Weslaco remains competitive. Given this, pending your approval, we still become very competitive, if not the highest paid in the Rio Grande Valley. We wanted to make sure also that it was sustainable. We've been looking at a lot at where we're at now, where we've been, and our plans to move forward. Rather than doing one-time stipends, we want it because people do the stipends amount using ESSER funding because they can't sustain giving their employees a consistent pay raise. We think we can do better. We know we can do better, and so we are going to. My recommendation will be to move forward so that we can sustain this, and I don't think we'll have an issue. Inflation is through the roof right now. It's the highest since 1981. We will try to do everything we can to keep up with the inflation. Of course, many organizations right now are faced with the rising cost of a myriad of things, food, fuel. I mean, it's getting a little ridiculous. So we want to make sure that we can try to stay up with inflation, although that's really hard right now given the fast rate. Room for growth. It allows us, it's scalable. In other words, our compensation plan will be scalable for growth into the future. I've challenged the district and all staff. We have about 2,200 employees, and so I sent an email out to all employees, and I said if we increase our enrollment by 1,000 students, we'll increase our salaries by 5% across the board, plus pay for their health benefits. So Weslaco ISD definitely is the place to be. And then we want to be able to recruit and retain high-quality employees. So, next. So here's what the study showed us. They gave us 3 models, as you remember, last week. We're going to recommend Model 3, which is the 3% pay raise. They conducted a staffing study to address overstaffing. I will tell you, the TASB recommendation did, in fact, recommend that we reduce staff by 168 people. 168 positions is what they saw that we are currently overstaffed, to include 27 teachers. With that in mind, I'm recommending zero cuts for any employees that currently work for WISD. I'll also show in later slides what our natural attrition has been and where we're at. So we think we can sustain with what we have and just have some natural attrition go by. We also conducted a salary study through TASB, and we made some adjustments from there. The academic, so we've also looked at athletic stipends. The only stipends that were underfunded were football. All the other ones were above market rate, and I'll show you some of those that we did. Academic stipends are still under review by TASB. There were a lot of the academic stipends.
Dr. Coronado?
Yes.
Could you explain for the public what attrition, through the loss of attrition, how
That people, so natural retirements, resignations, that's mostly, and sadly, death. So when people normally leave an organization, they leave on their terms. And not so much ours.
And so once they're gone, they won't be replaced, that position?
That's correct.
They'll use internal staff to put into those positions?
That's correct.
So that
Because we're already over by the 167 positions, we have enough people. As people leave, we can backfill with those positions. Okay? All right, is that?
Yes.
Pretty much, okay. Our pay structures, what we did is we condensed many of our pay ranges. We were very wide and very deep in a lot of the pay structure. So what we've done was we've narrowed it down and developed a hierarchy of systems, or positions rather. So rather than having a step increase, we've determined that what TASB suggested, that we have a minimum, mid, and maximum. So a minimum pay salary, the midpoint of their salary, and then their max salary. So just understand that if you are in a position, let's say for an example, you're in a director position and the max salary for that director, I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but let's just say it's $100,000, and that current employee is making $105,000, that person has already maxed their pay grade. So that means they will not see an increase because they've already reached their max. So the only way they can see an increase is if we do an across-the-board pay raise or if they get promoted. So certain positions are capped, in other words. So, next slide. So this is an example of the teacher pay scale with the 3% pay raise. We're looking at about a $1,700 increase across the board, which is equivalent to about 3%, and it's based on an average salary. So again, 5 steps. What I call it an autocorrect because we need to be able to keep up with the market. So you can see the teachers of experience with 0, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We had to have an adjustment for those initial teacher salaries. So teachers with 5 years or less of experience will get an additional adjustment to their salary. So For last year, our average teacher salary was 55, almost 55.7. This year, it's 57,232, which is about $1,566 increase. Again, making us probably the highest in the Rio Grande Valley. So this is what our pay grades used to look like. If you look at to the right of the screen, you see that the proposed schedules in the past were 101 and 202, and you can see all the positions in the 101. What happened was instead of just saying counselor, South Palm Gardens, counselor elementary, it's just counselor, right? So what we had to do, and the only thing that will different will be the number of days. So now look at pay grade number 101, right? That's going to be the minimum, the midpoint, and the maximum of their salary now. Same thing with the example of 202. So once we know what that position is, and we'll have in the compensation plan, every position is a pay grade, and that's where you fall into in terms of your salary. Again, minimum means you just started. You have no experience. For example, accountant at pay grade 202. Let's say you just graduated, you're an accountant, you have 0 experience, you start at the minimum. Now let's say you have 5 years of experience. So now we know that the maximum is basically 25 years of experience. So that means with 5 years of experience, you're going to be above the minimum, but below the maximum. Okay. Next slide. So again, all positions have been realigned to create a hierarchy pathway. And so some staff in the positions may receive an additional adjustment, just as I said, for the teachers. And those teachers that are 5 years or less, those employees have already been identified by TASB. Next. Again, this is another example of the instructional support. Again, this is what it used to look like under 501, and the new one for 22-23, it's just whatever the pay grade is in that position. And so every job description will actually have the pay grade for that position. So it's very clean. It doesn't leave we have to be allowed some discretion in terms of where we place people. And so what was happening before was, well, we don't have that position, or we need to create this position. And so it didn't allow us the flexibility to put people into certain pay grades. So this allows us to do that. The academic stipend schedule, again, we don't have all of them yet, but this is an example of the addition. So we have a group 4 example of $500 for the Texas Math and Science Coaches Association. We never had that before, so we added that. We also changed a high school technology coordinator to a campus communications coordinator. So you can see some of the changes that we've done to really streamline some of this. And then we've taken out Group 9, which is the elementary instructional coach. And the reason we've done that is because we've allocated 2 instructional coaches per campus now that we will actually allow funding for, or allocate funding for. So what we want to be able to really do is get rid of the stipends altogether for some positions and just make it part of their salary. And I'll give you a perfect example. The head trainer. Again, we were issuing $20,000 stipend. Well, that's just their job. So why don't we just encumber that into their regular salary, all right? And now they're at the market level. So now and now also we do them a favor. Right? Well, it's really not a favor. It's just, it's all credible now to TRS, so it helps their retirement. So, and again, these are the performing arts stipend schedule that we're looking at, and these are in addition to. Next. So this is the one that seems to be the most challenging for us. As you can see, what we've done is we've changed some things around because we used to have 2 defensive coordinators, 2 offensive coordinators. This is per team. So now in most football teams, they only have 1 defensive coordinator, 1 offensive coordinator, 1 special teams coordinator. And so what we've done is we reduced by 3, but we've increased. Now, TASB had indicated that we were actually below market when it comes to our defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, and special teams coordinator. So we've actually increased those three positions to 13,700. Our varsity football assistants were 7,900, and we've increased those to $10,000, and I'll explain that here on the next slide. So we've added the varsity football first assistant. In other words, that person is the assistant football coach, and that makes it even more competitive. Now, with that in mind, here's what we removed. We've removed the athletic video coordinator, athletic equipment coordinator, football scouting coordinator, strength coach, stadium supervisor, PE coordinator, and off-season coordinator. These were classified as auxiliary stipends, but the way I saw it, we discussed this, and this came to a lot of discussions. But if we're going to pay our football assistants $10,000, they can start doing some of these other duties and not get paid an extra stipend. So no one else has these really stipends, like a PE coordinator. I don't know what that is, but the principals are responsible for the PE teachers itself. And then of course, if they're coaches, then they fall under some jurisdiction for the athletic coordinator and the athletic director for the district. So, I think, I question these stipends, and I know it hurt some feelings, but my recommendation is that we remove these stipends because they're just too hard to justify. But what we did is, in terms of cuts, we added on the other side. Next. These are our attrition trends. So in 2020, we lost 156 employees through natural attrition. In 2021, we've lost 154. And in this year to date, we've lost 147. So contrary to what was posted on social media that we're firing everybody, clearly is not true. So again, we've only lost 147 through natural attrition. Again, TASB suggested that we cut 168, we've cut 0. So just to kind of dispel that. So next slide. So these are our salary trends. From 2020, you can see these are our total salaries regardless of revenue source. This has been the total budget salary. So even with a 3% pay raise, our projected 2023 salary is 147, which is still below 2020, 2021, and 2022. So this would be the time, members of the board, that if we wanted to have a discussion on making any other type of changes, you have the compensation plan in total. If you have any questions, subject to your questions, that really concludes this part of the compensation plan.
May I? Anyone have questions? Dr. Coronado.
Yes.
I was looking at the athletic stipend, and I'm looking at cheerleading, because the one for middle school, sponsored cheerleading is clearly way lower than everybody else. And I know that is a year-round event where the cheerleaders are practicing, and they go to the high school games also, and they go to the middle school games, and it's an all year round thing, and their stipend is significantly lower than everybody else's. So I don't know if we can look at that one.
It's on page 45.
Page 45.
Let's see. Page 40, cheerleading. Oh.
Yeah, way at the bottom.
Oh, mine is cut off.
Would you like to borrow this one? Just because I know it's a lot of work, I've seen, that they're there after school, and they're there all year. And it's really the only one that stuck out to me as way less than everybody else.
Yeah, I agree. Mine, no wonder I didn't see it, because mine is cut off. No, we can change that. May I ask what you'd like to see that at?
Is it something you can study and just take a look at it? Because we're not
Yeah.
deciding anything tonight. Nothing's set on concrete. Because we can't take any action.
No, but we
No,
can
we
take
have-
action but it is taking action tonight, sir, it is an agenda item. So if we wanted to make changes,
Right, but after the workshop, you can get with your staff real quick while we take a 5-minute break or whatever, just to
okay.
evaluate that number.
And then decide
put it in
on
place.
the
Yes.
numbers
To put it in
during
So I
the
can-
meeting?
Let me look at the cheerleaders to see what's available, and then we'll go from there. How's that sound? And then when we have the, as the discussion item, I can tell you what we can,
Exactly.
okay.
The other one that I want to consider is the cross-country track, because that falls under the year-round position, because that coach is working cross-country and then working track, which is a full-year thing, and that deserves some consideration. So whatever the year-round coaches are making, that person should be making that also.
Does he,
Okay.
he give us a new one? See, the new one says 10,000.
So cross-country and cheerleading.
Which I believe the
Cross-country track.
cross-country is revised on the
Already.
revisions that we have.
Yes, it's already revised.
We have revisions, and it's already been revised.
Is that the one that we did to 10,000?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we did it to 10,000.
Yes.
No, but I'm saying golf is year-round, so the head coach is making 11,700. Here, they're only making 10,000.
Oh, I see.
And that's really a year-round
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay, got it.
position.
Dr. Coronado, for me, I would like for us to consider, I know video, I had a program before, and I used to pay a freshman stipend to a video coordinator, because those guys video during the game. They take care of all the video during practice times, and I'm talking about 5A, 6A programs. Not only obviously, I I saw the slide there from the removals, the stipends that you removed on, but I am going to ask you to consider, because all these assignments are additional to the coaching that takes place. So we're asking individuals, and I was here at East, and I was a equipment coordinator. And I guarantee nobody else wanted that position, because and like Coach said, right now, about a year-round, that truly is a year-round position for this equipment coordinator, because you hand out all the equipment at the beginning, you account for all the equipment after the season, you order all the equipment for the following season, then you inventory what you have left. It's really a year-round task for the equipment coordinator, and that's just an example for your strength coach and off-season coordinators. You know, those two positions, again, pertain to big-time programs. I believe here at WISD, we are two established programs that require a strength coach. Nobody wants to stay in the weight rooms till 5:30, 6 o'clock. So those guys, especially for your off-season coordinator, the games are won in the off-season, not in August. Our off-seasons are the most important part of any program, not just football. So those that off-season coordinator position is extremely important. I used to lay out a calendar for everybody in the program from as soon as the season was over in December to the start of August. And there's a lot of planning, there's a lot of that needs to take place that your typical regular coach that's doing the coaching is not going to do, so, I would like, there's a lot of duties involved there that may not come to light or may not be visible to the person, but a lot of the work done by those guys is done behind the scenes. Your strength coach.
So Coach, may I ask?
Yes.
Then, so if we wanted to keep some of these coaching stipends,
Yes.
the video coordinator and strength and conditioning, So this would be my suggestion then. Then we reduce the $10,000 stipend off your varsity assistants.
But
I
you
mean,
already,
and so, because they're being paid well over, they went from $7,900 to $10,000. So so which one of those 7 or 8 varsity assistants aren't doing any of these other things? So are these individuals outside of the normal coaching staff, or are they in addition to?
these are normal duties outside of your coaching duties that people are assigned to take care
So
of.
during the game, so during the game, are they on
Your
the
video-
field or are they
your-
behind the video?
For example, your video coordinator, we come in after a game, there's guys assigned to laundry, there's guys that stay back and input information for the whatever software we had, I can't even recall right now, the football program that we had. The huddle. The huddle, there's information that you have to input, so those guys end up staying there till 12:30, 1 o'clock in the
Coach,
morning.
I understand. So what I'm saying is that we have given,
Yes.
we have increased the varsity assistant stipends to accommodate those duties. Now, if what you're suggesting is that we add these, we keep these stipends, then I don't have a problem with that, but I'm going to recommend that we lower those varsity assistants. And they can go back down to $7,500 if they're not doing these other duties. But I don't understand why, if I'm paying a coach, and again, I was a coach, but if I'm paying you $10,000, what, you can't be a strength coach too?
You know,
There's a lot of planning involved. I understand what you're saying, and I'm going to tell you, coaching in Texas, or coaching here in this area of the valley, or this area of Texas, or even consists of a lot of extra duties. It's not your typical coaching duties that were done back in our time. I mean, there's coaching duties here involved that require a lot of extra planning. For example, your video coordinator doesn't only work during the season. After the season, they're helping make cut-ups, they're cleaning up the huddle system. There's things that are done year-round that these coaches are not being compensated for. The football season only lasts for here 3 to 4 months. After that, it's a year-round thing for these guys. And some of these duties that fall on you, I mean, you don't want every single person involved with a strength coach. You normally have that one guy that's your specific knowledge is strength coach. So he's monitoring every single guy. He's dividing. I mean, he's dividing groups. He's monitoring the students' progress.
So if I'm a coach and I make $10,000 I'm a varsity assistant coach, and I make $10,000, and let's say I don't make it to the playoffs, right? So my season is done at the end of November or after Thanksgiving, and I'm done, right? So I've made $10,000 in 4 months. And is that correct?
I'm going to disagree with you. It's not 10,000 in 4 months. It's going to be 10,000 throughout the summer.
That's exactly what I'm saying, Coach. If it's $10,000 for the entire year, then they should be part of some of these other duties. Now, so again, I would agree. I would definitely agree with you. If it is important that we keep a strength coach stipend, then we need to lower the varsity assistant stipend. It's going to be a hard sell to the public to pay an assistant coach $10,000 and pay them a strength coach of $3,400 in the off season. I just can't.
I know we've increased this already to $10,000, but from what it was before, $7,900, I think that was still at your lower pay scale.
It was $430 lower than the market.
Okay.
It was $430. According to the TASB study, the football coaches were paid $434 under market. So at $7,900, so they should have made $7,300, $7,350. So if we want to stick to $7,350, now they're at market. So I'll recommend that we make the adjustments to $7,350, all the coaches, and then we'll go ahead and add the rest of these stipends in. but that means that's it.
You know, comment there, Coach, I agree with Coach there on the different situations there, because there are some coaches that are going to lose money, and we don't want them to lose money. I mean, most of them are experienced coaches that have been here for quite a while, and they don't work. Both East and Weslaco High, we're talking football right now, they've been in the playoffs for the last 10 years. They always extend their season, the majority of the time, except for COVID year. But a lot of times, coaches put in more time, even if whether video coordinator or equipment coordinator, they do put a lot of hours. And when you look at how much they make per hour, you'd be surprised, even though with these stipends. I believe, you know, you can adjust, like you said, Dr. Coronado, adjust the football coaches' stipends and keep these stipends that are earmarked for those coaches that have been doing it for many years.
What I'm looking at is that we want to add a varsity football assistant for $16,000. Well, why don't you have that guy do everything there? I mean, you know, you're going to add something, whatever these other people are doing that can't be done from the other coaches, you have somebody there that we're going to add on, have them do it then.
There are 12 coaches. There are 12 coaches that stand to lose money, according to the current stipend salary. I gave a copy of this to all of you. We have, I don't know if you know how many coaches are on this list, but all of them are listed. Every single athletic coach is on this list.
Correct.
Some are taking a big hit, maybe because they're not a defensive or they're not a varsity assistant. We were spending $2.1 million in athletic stipends. $2.1 million for athletic stipends. From middle school to high school. Again, I'm trying to accommodate the athletics as best I can. The money goes, for every dollar we spend towards adults, we take away from kids. And so I've already conceded that the money they make at the gate goes back to athletics.
Correct. And
this year was $260,000 to date. That goes back to athletics because that's money that was made on the backs of kids. So I've given them that. So, because they've earned it, so I really didn't give it to them. They've earned it. It never has gone back to athletics. It always went into our general fund. So, I'm saying, if Coach, if you're saying these are the must-haves, then that means I need to go back to the drawing board and I'm going to reduce the other coaching stipends to pay for this.
Well,
Because we cannot exceed $2.1 million. In fact, my limit was 1.8 in stipends, so basically I was going to, basically with the $300,000 savings in stipends, plus the $250,000, and in some cases it's on a good year without COVID, it's about $400,000 to $500,000. That puts about $750,000 back into athletics for kids. And so, and again, so if we want these auxiliary stipends, then I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board, and I'm going to have to figure out and reallocate the coaching stipends to make it equitable. Because right now, I'm having a hard time understanding why we're paying somebody $10,000 into stipend and they can't be a strength coach.
well, they can, but obviously right now we're.
They went from $3,400. So let's say we paid them $8,000. Let's make the math easy. So let's say they were making $8,000 in a coaching assistant, okay? Plus they made the strength coach of a $3,400. That's $11,400. So it's a $1,400 cut. Well, they're teachers first, and they're going to get a $1,700 pay raise. So they've lost $0, and they're doing the same thing. So if that's the direction we want to go, then we'll go that way. But my recommendation is to remove these stipends, increase their stipend, and assign the duties otherwise, and leave it up to the head football coach to assign those duties. But if the recommendation of the board is to put these back, then I'll go back and I'll lower the other ones.
I would just like for us to take a closer look at this. I mean, the $10,000 is great, Doctor, but I'm still saying that these duties are in addition to. And I know the TASB study is across the state, but we are in a unique area where the Valley is the highest paid, and and a lot of times it is the highest paid when it comes to football or any coaching. If you look at all our surrounding schools, I took a pay cut when I came from San Benito as a coach. I took a pay cut coming to Weslaco ISD, but my teaching made up the difference. But the coaching was still, coaching stipends have always been very low. Last year, I think, was the first year we gave them an increase.
Oh, Coach, and I'm sorry, but if you look at the coaching stipends and you look at the old stipend amount, you had some of these guys making $27,000. How do we explain that to our public? How do we explain that he's coaching football after school and he's coaching multiple things, and yet
But the
50% of our kids can't read. So I think, I'm just trying to put this in perspective, without trying to be argumentative. And again, I just have I have a hard time with the auxiliary stipends, obviously.
Yes.
But I don't have a hard time paying the stipends and asking our coaches to do more. I don't have a problem with that. And that's I guess that's my recommendation. My recommendation is that we pay our coaches more and have them take on those additional duties. When I was a coach, again, back in the day, I got $3,500. I did laundry, I did equipment, I did video, I did scouting, all for $3,500. I think I got 25 cents an hour. So, of course, that won't tell you how long ago that was, but, but again, so now we're paying these guys, $27,000, on average, $15,000 to do something that is fun?
Dr. Coronado,
Yes.
if you may, just real quick, I know it's an agenda item for later in the other meeting, and I know there's concerns from some. And I'm looking at some of these coaches, but, we have about 6 or 7 that stand to lose $10,000 to $15,000, $16,000. It's kind of late in the season for them to go look for a new job if that's what they so desired. But is there a way we can have a special meeting at least for that one agenda item next week to really just evaluate? And if the way to go is still to remove the auxiliary stipends, then we proceed to do so.
So what we can do on the agenda item that we have for the regular meeting is we can approve the compensation plan minus the stipend schedule, since the academic stipend is not
Correct. And mine's cut out, Doc. I just want to make sure that our middle school coaches aren't going to be cut anything,
No, it didn't look like they
right?
were.
Yeah,
Not
I
on
just
the
wanted to
update.
make sure, because on one paper I had 2,400, but here it says 3, so I want to make sure it's this one and
Yes.
not what was.
It's the one that you just
This
got
one
in the
then.
single.
Okay.
We adjusted, we've been making adjustments to
Okay.
this,
So-
5
So,
minutes
yeah, so
before
then
the
they
board
won't be-
meeting,
They
so.
won't be losing. But yeah, so, just so it's not a rush decision, with your team, and you can hear some of the other concerns, and we just move forward, and then if not, then we go back with removing, and we have a special board meeting, kind of easy, 15 minutes, knock it out. Okay, like you said, we can approve the budget as is without the stipends.
I had a question, Dr. Cornell. It's kind of changing direction here. I know we're talking about athletic stipends and whatnot, but I know in the TASB study, I saw that teachers that have a master's and teach in a core content area, their stipend is below the market value. Is that something that's being looked at and addressed in the compensation plan? As an increase?
Yes, sir. We haven't, again, we don't have the academic stipends back. So again, we're going to pay a teacher with a master's degree $1,000, but we're going to pay somebody a stipend to do video, for $3,400.
And that's exactly what I'm getting to, is that I'm looking at academics here, and I'm looking at the stipends that we pay those teachers that have a master's degree in the core content area that they teach, and they're getting $1,000. I saw that the market value minimum was, average was $1,500.
1,400.
Yeah, 1,400, and I think we need to look at that and increase that, because those teachers with those specialized skills that went above and beyond to specialize in that area,
To
those
get
are the
the
ones that
degree.
we got to keep. That's my priority, my concern. I know that's not being discussed today, but I think that's something we also need to discuss and look at
And I
too.
think that's why I kind of wanted, maybe if we table it, take a look at it and just approve the
compensation piece?
compensation piece, have a special board meeting just with that one agenda item. So all these concerns, I mean, Marcos is right, when my niece doesn't teach in this district, but I'm only getting $1,000 more, yet it cost her $50,000
Because right now,
to get it.
because right now, if we're looking at the state situation, we're seeing a drastic shortage on teachers, experienced teachers, and there's some districts that are extremely increasing pay scales above market value, and they're also offering a lot of stipends and also performance stipends as well too. So I know we're talking about athletics, and that's a topic of discussion now, but if we're looking to approve the compensation plan, let's look at academics as well. I mean, especially that one, that stuck out to me a lot too, that you have a teacher teaching in a classroom, in a core content area, only getting $1,000, and they went back and got a master's in that area. That makes, they're specializing in that content. So
Oh, yeah.
if we cannot forget about that.
I agree. And again, we don't have the academic stipends yet from TASB, but they are lower. We're an academic institution, we're not an athletic institution.
Yes, sir.
Athletics is extracurricular. And so I'm just trying to establish some equity. And again, for every dollar that we provide adults, we take away from kids. And so creating a positive learning environment means they go to the classroom. They spend 7.5 hours a day in our classrooms. And UIL only permits or limits the number of time they can spend in extracurricular activities. So I think we need to put, our budget is our priorities. A budget is a reflection of an organization's priorities. Our academics needs to be a priority. We got our preliminary scores from our EOC scores, and we need to focus on academics. We're below. We came in below the region and the state academically for the EOCs. So I think that our academics needs to be addressed. But subject to any further questions, that concludes the the compensation plan.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Cornell. If we have no further questions, we will now go to item 5, adjournment.
So moved.
Okay, the time is 6:09, and we have adjourned from the workshop. Are we ready to start our regular board meeting? Conducted in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. The board is meeting by the use of Google Meets and telephone transmission, which allows two-way communication for members of the public during public comments. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. The time now is 6:10, and I call this meeting to order. I'll now begin the roll call. Calling each board member by name. Signify your presence by saying here or present. Mr. Isidoro Nieto.
Present.
Mrs. Jackie Sustaita.
Present?
Coach Jesse Trevino.
Present.
Dr. Jaime Rodriguez.
Present.
Mr. Mark de los Santos.
Present.
Mr. Andrew Gonzalez.
Present.
Let the record show that a quorum of board members are in attendance. I did not catch the arrival time for Dr. Rodriguez. I know it was a little bit ago, so
6:05.
It was about 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Well, let the record reflect that Dr. Rodriguez joined the workshop at 6 o'clock. And now we have everyone in attendance. We now go to item 3, opening prayer. Dr. Coronel?
Board President, I'd like to introduce, and members of the board, I'd like to introduce Monica Garcia, third grade teacher at Rico Elementary.
Good evening. Let's go ahead and bow our heads so we can pray. Heavenly Father, we praise your holy and mighty name. We thank you for your unconditional love and your countless blessings. Father, we come before you asking that you meet the needs of our students, our staff, and our community, and that you continue to protect our schools. Lord, we ask that you guide this meeting tonight. Fill each board member with your wisdom. May every decision made here tonight be according to your will. In Jesus Christ we pray, amen.
Amen.
Item 4, Pledge of Allegiance, Texas Pledge. Dr. Coronel.
I'd like to turn this over to our Executive Director, soon-to-be Executive Director of District Communications, Mr. Carlos Robledo.
Good evening, Coach Cuellar, Dr. Coronado, members of the board. I would like to introduce two students, if they could step up over here from Rico Elementary. How about a big hand? We have a couple of students here. First, we have Alexander Rivera, who is the son of Abel Rivera and Lydia Solano. He is a member of the Rico News, Rico Book Club, Junior Lighthouse, and Rico Kindness Club. This year, he read 1 million words and became a Rico-naire. When he grows up, he would like to attend Brigham Young University and become an engineer. How about a big hand for Alexander Rivera? And if his parents are here, can they please stand to be recognized? Parents? Also with us here tonight, we have Emma Lopez, who is the daughter of Cristina Pina and Eduardo Lopez. She is a member of the Rico Cheer Squad, Rico News, Rico Book Club, and participated in the Little Wildcat Relays. When she grows up, she would like to be a teacher or become a small business owner. In her words, she would like to give Starbucks a run for its money. She would like to open up a coffee shop. How about a big hand for Emma Lopez? And if her parents are here, can they please stand and be recognized? Parents? Okay, can everyone please rise and face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, students, whenever you're ready. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What you got?
Are we ready to go, Carlos?
Okay, we are ready to go.
Okay. Item 5, Awards and Recognitions. Dr. Coronel.
Board President and members of the board, Carlos?
Yes, we have plenty of awards. We have a room full of parents and, of course, plenty of people to recognize. So let's go ahead and get everything started. Let's start off with some of our successful fine arts students. As they come into the building here, how about we give them a big hand? Perfect, thank you. So these are students from Weslaco High School, where all 3 bands receive sweepstakes recognition at the UIL concert site reading evaluation. The bands earned 3 straight ones from the judges. So as I say your name, if you could please step forward or raise your hand so that we could recognize you, okay? And so representing Weslaco High School Honors Band, section leaders, we'll start off with Cesar Cortez. Raymond Sanchez. Raymond. Marina Garcia. Not present. Alexia Tirado. Gabriel Ray. Destiny Cruz. Litzy Seville. Anthony Ortiz. Angel Colon. Francisco Riojas. Leila Montalongo. Fernando Perez. We also have students here representing the symphonic band. Rosalind Santiago, or de Santiago. Kirsten Ramirez. Triton Herrera. Sarah Cantu. Dominica Ramirez. Roque Martinez. Kayla Perez. Emily Mendoza. Ismael Ibarra. Ethan Lopez. Erica Gonzalez. Daniel Morales. We also have members of the concert band here this evening. Gabriela Oliva. Eva Rivera. Stephanie Rodriguez. Jacqueline Marr. Alexis Perez. Danny Cardona. Angie Mendoza. Caleb Trevino. Devon Cano. Marcos de la Cruz. Giovanni Marr. April Almaguer. Did I recognize everybody? Did I miss anyone's name? No? Okay. Parents, if the parents of these students, if they're here, can they please stand and be recognized? Parents. And we would also like to recognize their band director, Mr. Rodrigo Leal. All right, thank you very much, students. You may exit this way. Congratulations.
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 Great job, great job.
Congratulations.
All right, congratulations.
Yeah, that's right. Confidence, man. You know? Breaking away from the norm, being unique.
Baseball champ.
I'll see. Okay.
All right, up next, we would like to recognize some of our middle school students. So how about a big hand as they enter the room?
This is baseball. These are middle school.
Go ahead, go in
Second
front.
line, guys. On the bottom.
Go ahead and step up a little bit.
Oh, there you go.
Right there.
Keep on going. This is
Slide all the way down.
slide all the way down through here.
And then that's
There you go.
kids.
Oh, okay.
All right.
That was the next one there.
So these are Central Middle School Mighty Puma Band and also B. Garza 8th grade band. We'll start off with Central Middle School, record-breaking 127 Superior Division medals at solo and ensemble contests. Also record-breaking with 15 members earning a chair in the all-region band. So as I say your name, students, if you could please wave or step forward so that we could recognize you, okay? All right. We'll start off with beginner band, Superior Division, Texas Music Festival, first time in history, student representative Ava Roth. All right, also from Central Middle School, Superior Division, Texas Music Festival, sweepstakes, straight ones at UIL, Superior Division at the Harlingen Music Festival. This is from the concert band, and their director is Michael Perez. We'll start off with Jose Carrillo. Charlotte Martinez. Darius Castro. Eric Cavazos. Alex Olivares. Victoria Perez. Antonio Mata. Justin Perez. Ariel Cantu. From the Symphonic Band, they received the Superior Division at the Texas Music Festival, sweepstakes straight ones at UIL, and at the Harlingen Music Festival, they were recognized for their Superior Division, in the Superior Division, I should say. And this is Symphonic Band, once again, from Central Middle School. Their director is Moses Garza. We'll start off with Andrea Perez. Leila Herrera. Janelle Ramirez. Ryan Ibarra. Jamie Villanueva. Kevin Lugo. Aiden Rios. Noah Calderon. Up next, we would like to recognize some band members from B. Garza. This is the 8th grade band who received a Division I. So 8th grade band representatives, we'll start off with Angela Tafoya, Madison Turner, Mario Vallejo, Angel Colon, Larissa Perez, Sofia Hernandez, Ana Sofia Mariscal, Viviana Cano. We'd also like to recognize their director, Ernesto Ortiz. So we have B. Garza's 7th grade band, and they won sweepstakes, and we'd like to recognize some of their representatives here this evening. We'll start off with David Lopez, Roberto Vallejo, Jocelyn Marr, Jose Acuna, Arias Salas, and did I get everybody here? I think everybody was recognized. Yes. And congratulations once again, B. Garza's 7th grade band, sweepstakes winners. Their director is Deborah Rodriguez. All right, if their parents are here, can they please stand and be recognized? Parents of these fine. Congratulations. You may exit this way.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, great job.
Congratulations, guys. Good
And then
job.
after Dr. Jaime, it will be you. If the, good. Baseball or softball.
Baseball, right?
Yeah, or softball or baseball, I don't know. Because they didn't go in order, so I'm not sure. Because they didn't have that group.
That's why I tell you that.
Oh, there's some-
Up next, we would like to recognize some band members from Cuellar Middle School and Mary Hogue Middle School. How about a big hand for them as they, what? You guys are not. I'm sorry.
Start a new row, Steve. Start a new row. Start a new row.
Second row, guys. Second row.
We'll correct that in a few minutes. Let's get everybody here.
So those two groups were not.
They already passed middle school. They are at Weslaco East Wildcat Regiment. How about a big hand for these students? So what we have here tonight, Weslaco East High School Ensemble, they received 3 straight ones from the judges, earning sweepstakes distinctions. Representing the Weslaco East High School Symphonic Winds Ensemble are, okay, so as I say your name, if you could please wave or step forward so we could recognize you, okay? All right. We'll start off with the Symphonic Winds Ensemble, Coral Quiroga. Coral Quiroga. Joe Castillo. Omar Garcia. Cruz Gonzalez. Faith Gonzalez. Brandy Guerrero. Vicente Carrillo. Adrian Ibanez. Anthony Villanueva. Representing the East Honors Winds Ensemble are Julia Lopez, Alyssa Trevino, Priscilla Caballero, George Castillo, Sarah Hernandez, Logan Perryman, George Cisneros, Gerardo Vasquez. Looks like we got everybody recognized. All right. If your parents are here, if the parents are here, can they please stand and be recognized? Parents. All right, once again, congratulations once again. All right, you all may exit this way.
There's enough for
And as they walk out, we could recognize their band director, Mr. Cuellar. Mr. Cuellar, I know you're
whoever's
Okay.
see who's next.
We're banned.
All right, how about a big hand for these middle school
Oh, yeah.
band members from Cuellar and Mary Hogue. Here's good. Awesome,
This
awesome.
probably was going to be able to go twice.
Come on in.
Come on.
Oh, they're still coming.
Already stopped.
All right.
All of them did well this year. All of them did well.
So we're going to recognize some of our band members from Cuellar Middle School Symphonic Band. So students, as I say your name, if you could just wave or step forward so that we can recognize you, okay? All right. We'll start off with Miguel Piata. Grace Loya. Marlene Montemayor. Jackie Ramos. Edward de Alva. We also have some Cuellar Middle School concert band members here. We have Caroline Avila. Armando Castañeda. Giovanni Ortiz. Keyshawn Williams. Benjamin Acevedo. We'd also like to recognize the Cuellar Band Director, Olivia Aguayo. All right, Mary Hogue Symphonic Band, and we have some representatives here. Gabby Sanchez. Eddie Lopez. Christina Mojica. Mia Garcia. Maddie Castillo. Jose Belmares. We also have Mary Hogue Middle School Concert Band here. Christian Mojica. I was just correcting the way I said the name. Apologize for that. Naomi Lopez. Evangeline Pompa. Romina Cuellar. Devin Reina.
This one here.
Derek Salinas. All right, do we get everybody recognized here tonight? We did. We need one more. See that I forget somebody's name. We'd also like to recognize Aaron Garcia. Mary Hogue Director is Natalie Sanchez. She's here. And also parents, if the parents are here of these fine students, can they please stand and be recognized? Parents. Thank you very much and congratulations. Y'all can step up this way. Okay. So tonight, we also would like to recognize some of our athletes from Weslaco East High School. This is the Weslaco East High School Wildcats baseball team. Stay right there. And tonight we want to recognize the Weslaco East High School Wildcats because they won back-to-back district championships this year in 32-5A, and also this year they claimed the Class 5A by-district championship title. So gentlemen, as I say your name, if you could please step forward so you can be recognized. We'll start off with George Zavala. Up next, Javi Garza. Samuel Covarrubias. Also part of the team, Margarito Pompa. Brandon Villarreal. Alex Solis. Fabian Trujillo. We also have Edward Villa. Also, we have here tonight Joseph Perez. We would also like to recognize Jose Rodriguez. Also part of the team, Jesus Ramirez. Jacob Rodriguez. Randy Rodriguez. Also part of the team, Mike Brown Jr. Jesus Grimaldo. Adam Alejandro. Also, we want to recognize tonight Ryan Escamilla. Gabriel Villarreal. Caleb Escamilla. Nathan Rivas. And we also want to recognize Antonio Balboa. We'd also like to recognize members of the staff, Coach Carrion, Coach Chavez Jr., Coach Chavez Sr., Marcus Bowen, Rick Medina, Jaime Castaneda, assistant, and the head coach, Mike Brown. Parents, if you're here, parents, can you please stand and be recognized? Our parents. All right. Once again, congratulations, and we'll see you guys next year, right? All right.
Great job, guys.
Good job, good job.
All right, now we have members of the Lady Wildcats softball team. All right. So tonight we want to congratulate the Weslaco East High School Lady Cats for bringing home the softball 32-5A co-district championship. Also, these young ladies captured a Class 5A by-district championship. How about a big hand for them? And so, young ladies, as I say your name, please step forward so we could recognize you, okay? Team members are, we'll start off with Jay-Z Casares. We'd also like to congratulate Melissa Cabrera. Jaylyn Figueroa. Ariel Lopez. Dion Lopez. Michaela Perales. Lady Lopez. Magali Larga. Ambrosia Peña. Ariana Cabrera. Jessica Salazar. Elvira Perez. Desiree Herrera. Angie Herrera. And we'd also like to recognize Cecilia Bautista. Managers are Alejandra Lopez, Daphne Valero, and Jayla Alvarez. And let's recognize the coaching staff. We have Sheila Guerrero, Mario Castillo, Jessica Ferrer, Adrian Gomez, Fernando Bautista, Lysandra Cavazos, and the head coach, Victoria Vasquez. And let's also recognize their parents for being here. Parents, please stand and be recognized. All right, ladies, congratulations on a great season. You may exit this way.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, ladies.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to recognize some more athletes who received state academic honors. How about a big hand as they enter the room? All right, looks like we don't have everybody here tonight, but we're going to go ahead and say their name or read those individuals who won state awards academically, and of course our students who are here tonight. So we want to congratulate several high school athletes who were recently named on the all-academic and all-state academic teams for their academic excellence. Coaches Associations for basketball, girls basketball, soccer, and the Texas High School Coaches Association awarded our students with these distinctions. From Weslaco ISD High School, and students, as I say your name, you can please step forward so we can recognize you, okay? From Weslaco ISD High School in girls basketball, receiving all academic team honors are Elizabeth Carranza, not here, Julie Mojica, they're back there? Okay. All right. Are you all from West? Okay, well, let's bring them all out at the same time. I'm sorry, I apologize. Yeah, go ahead and come on in. Are there anybody with academic recognition? Just go ahead and come on out. We're going to name all you guys together. All right, we'll get the green card next. All right. All right, so once again, let's have a big hand for all our academic athletes. All right, so students, as I say your name, please step forward so you can be recognized. All right. So we'll start off from Weslaco ISD High School in girls basketball, receiving all academic team honors, Elizabeth Carranza. All right. Jolie Mojica. Abigail Cabrera. And their head coach is Chris Cromer. All right, we have boys basketball from Weslaco ISD. Academic team honors go to Charles Cromer. Right here, Joshua Contreras. And their head coach is Zeke Rodriguez. In boys soccer, receiving all academic team honors, Eric Munoz. And Angel Salceda. Head coach for the boys soccer team at Weslaco ISD is Robbie Contreras. Making the academic all-state second team in girls soccer, we have Victoria Sustaita. Proud mom. Galelia Martinez. And Hannah Zuniga. Head coach is Rolando Ramos. From Weslaco High School in girls basketball, receiving academic all-team honors. Academic team honors are Melanie Carreon, Alexa Davila, Destiny Ramos, Ana Vela, Kennedy Villalpando. And their head coach is Griselda Fino. In boys basketball, earning academic all-state honors, we have Nick Avila, making the academic all-state first team, Leonard Smith. And their head coach is Gabe Valdez. Moving on to boys soccer, earning academic all-state honorable mention, Marcos Limon. Making the academic all-state second team, Juan Cruz. We also have academic second team, Jose Arande. And that's Andrade, apologize for that. And their head coach is Eric Zamora. In girls soccer, making the academic all-state second team, Chantel Luna, Isabella Montano, and Abigail Reina. Their head coach is Eloy Gonzalez. Okay. We would also like to recognize the parents of these students. If they're here, can they please stand and be recognized? Parents? And once again, congratulations. Great job, everybody. Y'all may exit this way.
Congratulations.
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 We have a few more recognitions and awards. You know, this is the time of the year, especially in the spring, where we just have a lot of awards, and we have a lot of winners here at Weslaco ISD, and these are members of the green car team. How about a big hand for them as they enter the room? They're representing.
The green car.
Can you hear me?
Green card.
The green car team, yes, and they're representing
Oh,
Weslaco ISD.
it's
They're
on
from
there.
both
They
Weslaco
build
High
them in
School
the
and Weslaco East High School.
Guard something.
So tonight we want to congratulate the CTE Electronic Car Racing Team for their outstanding results. This group won 3 first-place awards and advanced to the National 2022 F24 Advanced Green Power USA Custom Division. After overcoming equipment failure, COVID cancellations, and a wreck, the team placed the number 44 race car 4th at Nationals. Congratulations. So representing both Weslaco High School and Weslaco East High School, members of the Weslaco Green Power Electric Car Race Team are, and as I say your name, you can please step forward so that we can recognize you, okay? We'll start off with Ray Leal. Ray? Alfredo Trevino. Spencer Ramirez. Jonathan Hernandez. Luis Gomez. Miguel Chavez. Rigo Cerda. Conrad Rodriguez. And I think I got everybody. We'd like to recognize their team coach, Carlos Perez. And if their parents are here, parents, can you please stand and be recognized? Parents? All right, once again, congratulations. Y'all may exit this way.
Congratulations.
They put them on there.
My nephew, the parental conference.
Okay, this is our last group of students.
It's on there.
How about a big hand for some of our students here as they enter the room? Is that everybody? So tonight we have members here from different organizations such as Skills USA and BPA. And we want to congratulate several high school students who were extremely successful in several CTE programs. These students qualified for state competition and placed in the top 10. Representing Skills USA, so students, let me just tell you guys, as I say your name, you can please step forward so you can be recognized, okay? All right. Placing 5th at the Digital Cinema Production State Contest, we have Ambrose Balderas. Sarah Rodriguez. We also have Yana Siller. And their sponsor is Gabriel Cruz. Up next, we have someone who won 3rd place at the State Telecommunications Cabling event. And we'd like to recognize Joaquin Baron. And their sponsor is Mr. Mario Palacios. Winning 1st place in the employment application process event and qualified for nationals, Juan Tamez. We'd also like to recognize their sponsor, Oscar Garcia. From BPA, winning 1st place in the Advanced Interviewing Skills State Event and Advanced to Nationals, Jada Moreno. We would also like to recognize winning 4th place at the State Leadership Conference in FCCLA, Lily Ford. Representing HOSA, placing 7th out of 25 in the state, we have Analia Flores. All right, we recognize everybody. I would also like to recognize the, wait a minute, let me make sure we don't have anybody else coming. Is there anybody else coming in? Anybody?
Their
No?
sponsors.
Okay.
Carlos,
Yes,
their sponsors.
I think I recognize, the sponsors for Maggie Ramirez for HOSA. Also sponsor for FCCLA, Mary Martin. And the BPA sponsor, Veronica Galvan. All right, thank you very much, and you may exit this way. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Oh, yes. The most important part, how about the parents? Can they please stand and be recognized?
Parents.
Thank you very much. All right.
Okay. Item 6, proclamations.
There are none.
There are none. Okay, it takes item 7, public comments.
There are 8. Just give me 2 minutes. I'm going to connect the first one virtually, and the rest will be in person. Be right back. Thank you.
Sandwich.
After this, everything.
No. They were going to connect whoever was going to do public comments, 8 of them. But this one's going to be virtual and the other 7, I guess, are here. If they can't connect it, they should go with the other ones and then come back to
Mr. Guerra, you can start. Yes, good evening, Dr. Coronado, President Cuellar, and Weslaco ISD School Board members. My name is Luciano. Yes.
Before we start, I need to read a script, and then,
Okay.
and then you'll have the floor.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, identify yourself and give your address.
Luciano Guerra. I live at 1008 Country Club Drive in Mission, Texas.
Okay, Mr. Guerra. Pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, the Board of Trustees may not deliberate on any comment made by a member of the public on a subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of this meeting. As per the Texas Attorney General, the scope of board discussions for a subject not part of the meeting agenda is limited to only a proposal by a board member to place on the subject on a future board agenda. Specific factual information or recitation of existing policy may be furnished in response to inquiries, but the board shall not deliberate or decide regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Audience participation at a board meeting is limited to the portion of the meeting designated for that purpose. At all other times during a board meeting, the audience shall not enter into discussion or debate on matters being considered by the board, unless recognized by the presiding officer. No public comment presentation shall exceed 5 minutes. Any disruptive behavior by any speaker may result in the speaker's removal from participation in the meeting. Please be mindful of using names or personally identifiable information, as there is no immunity from defamatory comments while participating in public comments. Okay, sir, you may now have the floor.
Okay, yes, my name is Luciano Guerra. I'm the sports editor for the Progress Times newspaper in Mission, Texas. We are a local weekly paper that covers mostly Mission, La Jolla, and Cherryland high school teams. I've been a photographer and a sports writer for the Progress Times for about 10 years now. And in that time, I have never, ever been refused admittance to a high school sports venue or asked to leave a dugout, as I was on May 6th at Weslaco High School when I was covering the La Jolla Coyotes versus Weslaco Panthers by district baseball game. I was in the La Jolla Coyotes dugout. I know the Coyotes coaches very well. I know the Victor Garza, the athletic director. They had no problem with me being in the dugout at that game as a photographer. I was there to shoot photos of the Coyotes, but of course also of the Panthers for the Progress Times newspaper. I was informed partway through the game that I had to leave the dugout because the Weslaco High coaches, or one of the coaches, I'm not sure who, I wasn't given a name, was asked to have me leave the dugout by an umpire. I showed the umpire my credentials. I have a Texas Press Association press pass. I was also wearing a vest that said Progress Times newspaper on the back. It was very easily visible, and I showed it to the umpire. He said, "Doesn't matter, you have to leave the dugout." I didn't know exactly what was going on, so I left. I didn't want to make any kind of scene or anything. I did leave, and later I was told that this is not the first time this kind of thing has happened to members of the media. I have spoken with Delcia Lopez, who is a photographer for the Monitor, and here is something she posted on my Facebook page. That coach has an issue with us too, talking about the Monitor. That's why we don't go there anymore. It's a shame because it's about the kids/players getting the coverage, not about an adult coach. Weslaco ISD administration should be contacted. We've been denied access and when granted, given grief about being there to cover games. Reason, we no longer cover with photos any longer. So this is something that hasn't just happened to me. Apparently, it's happened to other members of the media. Now, then later, Delcia Lopez sent me another text saying that she was mistaken. It was a Weslaco High School softball coach, not baseball, that had given them problems. So apparently, it's not just the baseball coach who gave me problems, but also the softball coach has given the monitor problems. Now, Delcia Lopez spoke to Henry Miller, who's her sports editor, and they have contacted the UIL to see if any of this is in violation of UIL rules. They have not heard back from the UIL yet on this matter, but we are waiting to see what the UIL says about this. So I am doing this to make you all aware of this situation that apparently your baseball, Weslaco High baseball and softball coaches do not want media at covering high school softball or high school baseball. I don't know why. I just watched online, saw all these great student athletes be recognized for their accomplishments. That's part of our job, is to make sure that these students receive recognition through photos and through interviews and through stories about them. That's the job we're trying to do, but apparently this is not something that some of the coaches at Weslaco High School are allowing us to do. Okay?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Carlos, are we going to follow this list? Are we going to follow this first and then
Yes, follow that
the
first
person
and
here
then
live?
Correct.
Ismael Guerrero? State your name and address.
My name is Ismael Guerrero. I live at 2904 Roseland Drive in Weslaco, Texas.
Okay, Ismael, I don't have to recite the whole thing again?
No, but is there a time limit?
Yes, we have a 5-minute time limit, and I think in prior meetings, we recite that one time, and that's it. So you're aware of the time limit, so you now have the floor.
Good afternoon, Dr. Coronado and members of Weslaco ISD. My name is Ismael Guerrero Jr. I'm a student at the Weslaco High School and part of the Mariachi Pantera. I find it unfair that my director will be losing her job after this school year. She was one to help everybody in the mariachi group about their decisions and everything else. She was the one to help me learn and pick up playing the violin quickly. She did help us go to state and compete 2 years in a row, which is a very difficult task. Ms. Bravo is not only a director, but is also like a parental figure in a way that she gets things out of her way to help the group in whatever we need. She'll do anything for us and rearrange things no matter the circumstances. Ms. Bravo has always encouraged us and pushed us to do our best, not only in the mariachi group, but in general. We have been told that the reason for Ms. Bravo's termination was because of a student impaired made multiple reports to central office. I myself have made complaints to a principal and a band director, but now that I look at it, I see that mariachi is not only a group for fun, but is a discipline as well. And there was a reason I was getting in trouble for the things I did wrong. Not to mention, she has multiple challenges as well as a teacher teaching students in 3 different schools. It is disappointing and sad that Ms. Bravo was preparing us all year to go to the mariachi workshop, and she wasn't allowed to go. Also, our end-of-year mariachi performance was canceled and took a very long time to find answers on why it was canceled. This has and still is affecting us mariachi students not only mentally, but emotionally as well. Ms. Bravo has a passion for not only herself, but for touching the lives of students she sees every day. No matter what happens, I could say Ms. Bravo has a heart for her students. Thank you for hearing me out. I hope you guys take this into consideration about keeping her here for the next school year and more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Alan Olivares? State your name and address, please.
Alan Olivares. I live at 513 Orchard Court, Weslaco, Texas.
Okay, you have 5 minutes. You have the floor.
Thank you. Greetings, Dr. Coronado and members of the school board. My name is Alan Olivares. I am a junior at Weslaco High School, and I have been a member of Mariachi Pantera since the beginning of this school year. I am here to speak to you today in regards to my mariachi director, Mrs. Emily Bravo. When we finally returned to in-person school this school year, I decided to try the mariachi program. Knowing it would be difficult coming in as a first-year mariachi student, I did have fear inside of me. What if I wasn't accepted? What if I wasn't good enough? However, at my first rehearsal with the mariachi, I was welcomed with open arms by Mrs. Bravo. She knew my situation and continuously assured me that we all start somewhere and that we were all there to learn and grow as not only musicians, but as individuals. Being a violin player herself, Mrs. Bravo has always given me tips and advice on how to better my playing. She has always wanted for my skill to improve for the benefit of the group. She has, since the beginning of the school year, ingrained in our minds that mariachi is a discipline. It is not just a program to be in for fun. There is dedication, respect, and discipline that must be present in every student in order for us to succeed. She has always stressed the importance of teamwork and perseverance despite the challenges we may face. You see, Mrs. Bravo is more than a teacher. She is a mentor. She has allowed us to grow as musicians, but also as people. She has taught me to never give up, to always try my best, and to try new things even when I may be afraid to. Since the beginning of the school year, Mrs. Bravo has been pushing all of us to do our best in order to earn a Division I rating at the UIL Area Mariachi Ensemble Contest so that we may advance to the state level. Under her leadership, guidance, and dedication to her students, we were able to earn our ticket to the state UIL Mariachi Contest. I recall that the day of the area contest, all of us had more nerves than we knew what to do with. We wanted to not only advance the state for ourselves, but for Ms. Bravo, because as her students, we have seen all the work, time, effort, and passion she has put into our group. We have seen her encounter many challenges, especially because she is only one director for 3 schools. However, she always made the time to prepare us for our contest. On that day, after our performance, we had finally seen that all the hard work had paid off. We had earned our ticket to state. All the long practices, all the extra time we put in at home, it was all worth it. A good teacher is like a candle. It consumes itself to light the way for others. This quote perfectly describes the kind of educator Mrs. Bravo is. She will give up her time and energy for the benefit of her students. All year long, she has pushed and has never made it feel like she doesn't care or as if we aren't good enough to work on. On the contrary, she has truly embodied what it means to be a teacher who goes above and beyond for her students. If our group needs extra practice time, she will stay for us. If our trajes don't fit us properly and she needs to sew them on the bus the entire trip to our UIL state contest, she will. If we have a performance early in the morning and we don't have time to eat, she is going to bring us breakfast. If we need to practice on a Saturday morning, Mrs. Bravo will drive to Weslaco from where she lives, which I will add is an hour away, leaving behind her 2 young kids and husband. And all of these instances, if you haven't noticed by how specific they are, have all occurred. Mrs. Emily Bravo is always willing to do the absolute most that she can for all of her students, and she always has. Very few teachers in today's atmosphere in education would do what she does, and that is what sets her apart from the rest. She is here because she wants us to learn and she wants us to grow. She has always said that our generation is going to be the generation that will carry on the mariachi tradition. She tells us that we are the ones who will never let it die out, that the future of our culture is in our hands. Mrs. Bravo not only has a passion for what she does, but she has a passion for touching the lives of the students she sees every day. She has a passion for mariachi, she has a passion for her students, and this passion is what has allowed her to take such huge strides in the mariachi program in the district. The mariachi program would not have gotten as far as it has if not for her leadership and guidance. At the very center of Mrs. Bravo is the most important thing that a teacher should have. What Mrs. Bravo has is love. Mrs. Bravo loves her students. I can say with complete certainty, with 100% confidence, that every single time I step into the classroom, I feel the love she has for us. Through the advice she gives inside and out of the classroom, we can feel how much she cares about us. We feel her love. In closing, I feel confident you have a sense of my mariachi director's character. It is at this time that I ask that you reconsider allowing Mrs. Bravo, who is always going above and beyond for her students, and who is always looking out for the best interest of her students, and who has been preparing us for so many things throughout the school year, to return next school year and beyond. This quote, A leadership is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way, end of quote. Epitomizes the true character of Mrs. Emily Bravo. I pray that you make the right choice and indeed show us the way. Thank you.
Thank you. Gabriela Oliva. Name and address.
I'm Gabriela Oliva. My address is 101 South Sinclair, Weslaco, Texas.
Okay, you have 5 minutes.
Ms. Bravo has been a really great teacher, and it just breaks my heart to see her losing her job over, well, I don't know, just losing her job. She has encouraged me personally to stay in mariachi. When I first started, I didn't want to stay because I am a flute, and many people say flutes don't belong in mariachi. And instead of telling me that, that I shouldn't be there, she encouraged me to stay and said I had so much potential, and look at me now. I sang the songs for both times we went to state with her. Through her guidance, we've done so much. She's done nothing but support and encourage everyone in our mariachi. And she isn't only there for just to teach, but she's been there to talk to, and just, you can tell she loves us, each and every one of us. And she led us to state with very little support and funding, and in only her second and third year of teaching in general, she was able to do that. Not many people could. It's pretty amazing to me. She got many students out of their comfort zones so they could sing and play with more confidence. Last year, only around 3 people sang, maybe a little bit more, and now almost the whole mariachi sings, including the 2 that talked. They wouldn't sing before, but now she encouraged them to step out of their comfort zone, and they have their own songs now, and it's just really great. And she doesn't just give songs out, she makes it equal. With every song she has an audition, we have to audition for it. And if you don't show up for that audition, well, then you can't get the song. And she makes sure it's very fair. And many people said, or some people said before, that she uses favoritism. But I don't believe that, because a lot of people want what they want, and just like without putting in work. Me personally, I think I put in a lot of work. I stay after school every day, or I would when we were getting ready for state, and that's why I sang the songs. If they want to be on the top, they should put in the work. And the majority of the mariachi really loves her and really wants her there. And I say that we should stick with the majority, because if one person doesn't like her, if 2 people don't like her, then maybe those 2 people are the problem, or that one person is the problem. It's not Ms. Bravo, because she's been nothing but amazing to us. And I love her. I love her like a second mom. No, but she's just that great that I just can't imagine my senior year next year without her. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Diana Garza.
Hi, everybody, I'm back again.
Okay.
All
Your
righty.
name and address, please.
Okay, my name is Diana Garza, 1011 East 10th Street, Mercedes.
You have 5 minutes.
My phone number, do I need to give it out? Because I know before we had to know.
No.
Okay, anyway, you know what? Well, before I start, these young children, that's not part of what I needed to say, right? And it breaks my heart because from my understanding, each one of you, listen closely. This young educator with 3 years in that took that mariachi to state was threatened with a non-renewal. And it makes me pretty sad because I've been there. Guess what? Because I'm older and I know how snakes work, I chose you do what you have to, but I'm not resigning. This poor lady, she was timid, didn't know any better, is young, she doesn't know how things work yet, but she went ahead and put her letter in to resign. So I hope each one of you that are sitting there for children, as you all claim, do the right thing and let her rescind her letter of resignation because she was threatened and she didn't know any better, so she did what she thought she had to do. So anyway, with that being said, I trust that you're going to do the right thing. So let me go on with, okay, well, good evening, school board trustees and Dr. Coronado. And parents that are out there watching and students. Dr. Coronado, first and foremost, I would like to thank you for serving our country for 22 years. I appreciate that. And welcome to Weslaco ISD, all right? I have faith that after 3 superintendents in 1 school year, you're gonna do the right thing and move the district forward. I truly have faith. With that being said, I was here on February 15th, and I would like to comment on a statement that Mr. Nieto made when he voted not to compensate me for time that I had lost due to a bullying issue at my campus that affected me where I couldn't go work anymore. And he stated that in order to go to work, in order to get a paycheck, we need to work, right? All right. So with that being said, I wasn't accommodated. I wanted to work, but I wasn't accommodated for obvious reasons because it's me. Okay, so here in my file, I have a voluntary surrender teaching certificate of an educator who was on paid leave for a year, okay, for an inappropriate relationship with a student. That person, because of relation to some of you sitting on the board, it's my understanding, was paid for a whole year, okay? So, yes, why was he getting paid without going to work, Mr. Nieto? And I don't know what took so long, because obviously there was some truth to that allegation, because here I have the certificate where that person surrendered his certificate, right? I hope that charges were filed, and I hope that Weslaco PD did not give that parent the runaround, but it's my understanding to this day that they gave that parent the runaround, as they did with the assault of that poor child, that special ed child that happened the first semester, where it wasn't until Mr. Trevino publicly, I want to thank you for going out there on Channel 5 and asking and demanding what's taking so long. So on behalf of all students in this district, Mr. Trevino, and myself, I truly thank you for being in that seat that you're loaned, as Mr. De Los Santos said in some comments that I'm going to get to later. It's loaned to each one of you, okay? And it's loaned to you, as he stated, it's loaned to you by the students of this district that are here. It's loaned to you by the parents in the community. It's loaned to you. You don't own that seat. Okay, so again, I'm going to repeat. I hope you do the right thing, as these young children are asking you to do. Okay, so with that being said, do not forget, every one of you was elected by the community to be the voice of every single boy and girl in this district. Which brings me to other points I want to make. There are 4 of you sitting up there that also voted not to suspend our former superintendent, Dr. Canales, during the audit. Some of you claimed that everything was great under her leadership. The following are some of the comments some of you made at that meeting where you voted not to suspend her. Dr. Jaime Rodriguez, Dr. Canales has been doing a great job leading our district.
Yes.
No, but these are public. It's
No,
public.
no.
Oh, okay, all right. It's public. For y'all that are watching out there, go to the meeting that was held on, let me see, so that people can go see the comments that you all made. I have it here.
Ms. Garza, you have reached the 5 minutes.
You didn't give me the warning. Can I, weren't we supposed to get a 2-minute warning?
No.
Can we,
Yeah,
Huh?
5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yep.
Okay, well, I should have been given the 2-minute warning, I thought. But anyway, thank you so much, and I know that come election time, all the parents and people watching are gonna do the right thing and vote for the people that are there for the right reasons, which are students. Because
you.
after the finding of the audit, obviously, a lot of you aren't there for the right reasons. Thank you.
Thank
God
you.
bless Weslaco ISD.
Thank you. Julie Valdez? State your name and address, please.
My name is Julie Ann Valdez, and my address is 1103 Stone Street, Weslaco, Texas.
You have 5 minutes.
Okay. My name is Julie Ann Valdez, and I'm here to comment on 2 different issues, but I think I'm probably just going to have time for one. And that one is the selection process for the summer school assignments. I've been an employee for the district for 10 years, first as a sub and now as a teacher for like 8 years. And this year was really disappointing, and that's to say the least. My complaint is, or my concern, because it's a concern that I have, is that what was the criteria for the selection of teachers? If there was criteria, was that criteria followed? Where are the evaluations? Because I find it very disheartening that not only me, but I wasn't selected, but I don't want people out there thinking like, oh, she has, a gripe, but she has a chip on her shoulder because she didn't get selected. I could deal with rejection. I'm 38 years old. That's not the issue here. The issue here is the person in charge of that selection process. The issue here was the credibility of that person due to the way that person was chosen, due to the way that person was actually hired for their job. And I'll refer you to page 38 of the, that report, the audit, the forensic audit, thank you, the Tidwell report. I'll refer to that, page 38, and you could see who was in that committee. Going back to the summer assignments, there's little confidence that that thing was done fairly and justly. If it was a committee, that committee was, if it was made up of admin at the campus where I work at, that committee was made by that committee must have been made by individuals who had no issue in selecting me to do what other teachers would say is tedious work. It's part of our work assignment, just like Dr. Coronado, you mentioned, like paying a certain amount. We do these tasks, these extra duties, these other duties as assigned. It's part of our salary. It's in there. But the thing is, when the same individuals are repeatedly chosen time and time again to do the same tasks that other people shy away from, I was very quickly to choose me among other administrators, and it is across, I believe I've gotten complaints across, different campuses, that we were utilized for those other duties as assigned. And we were utilized for the burdensome tasks. But when it came time, when it came time for summer assignment selection, all of a sudden, we weren't considered. We weren't chosen. We weren't there. Just like those people, those admin, had the same consideration, or the same consideration to volunteer me, or to choose me, or to choose other educators to test, to do these other duties as assigned. They should have been so quick as to have the same consideration for the summer assignments. So what I came here for, I urge you, Dr. Coronado, to actually go into the different campuses and ask what were the criteria. Was the criteria followed? And what was it that, other people, how was it that other people that are questionable, that were questionably chosen, questionable decision-making over others? And I'll just give you one example right now. There's an educator who was chosen for a summer assignment who didn't even apply for the summer assignment. And I did. and same department, and other people from the same department, how was it that that educator was chosen? And I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. I'm just saying that there is inconsistencies. Either, there's inconsistencies, and that's what, across campuses, not just where I work. And I'm not going to say for obvious reasons which campus I work in, but, I just want you to look into that, and to follow through with that. The other thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if I have enough time, but was the Tidwell report and the Weaver report. And what I find on page 38 is that what were the ramifications for people who actually sat in the committee and corrupted the hiring process? What were the actual outcomes for those people? Those people, and I looked at every single name, actually either faced no consequence or got promoted. Look at the list. They're all people promoted. One after the whole report comes out. After the whole report came out, there was no consequences whatsoever. I don't advocate the firing of anybody. That's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is there needs to be.
You have reached the 5 minutes.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Esmeralda Oliva.
Hello, my name is Esmeralda Oliva, and my address is 101 South Sinclair Avenue, Weslaco, Texas. And I am, okay, I am here to support my daughter and her classmates, her peers that are in the Mariachi Pantera. It is my understanding that Ms. Bravo resigned, but from what I've seen and the way, she took time off from work when she never missed. My daughter was calling me that day that they had that thing in Bronzeville. Mom, there's something wrong. Call her. Maybe something happened to her. She never misses anything. She's always here for us. She is one of the few dedicated teachers that I've seen that teach from the heart. She is here on Fridays till 6:30, 7 p.m. on, if she needs to be for her students to practice so that they can be ready and make it to state. Now, I'm sorry if I sound offensive. My husband says when I'm passionate about something, I tend to offend people, and that is not my intention. I thank you for your time. But I've heard rumors that Weslaco has been trying to do away with the mariachi program. Now, and the reason that kind of, to me now, it's kind of like, this was before my daughter was in mariachi. But Ms. Bravo came in as the first-year teacher. Her second-year teacher, during COVID, she took the mariachi to state. Her third year, which is this year, she took them to state again. Did she exceed y'all's expectations? Because the mariachi doesn't have a classroom. They don't have their own budget. Yet, whenever there's luncheons for teachers, for counselors, for anything, even here at central office, who do y'all call for entertainment? You don't call the football team. You don't call the basketball team. You don't call the band. You don't call orchestra. You call the mariachi. Yet, why aren't you listening to the mariachi? I ask you to please open your hearts and listen to the students of Weslaco. This is something that I've seen firsthand. My husband and I go to every performance that the mariachi has. It doesn't matter where it's at. And when they were attending at STC, they were invited to play for their 15 años. I saw students that had never sung before and that I've known because they attend my church. They had never sung before, ever, but yet they got the courage, thanks to the confidence that Ms. Bravo gave them to get up there and sing, and they did amazing. And these are kids that I've known since they were little, and they never sang, but she got them to do that. She got them out of the comfort zone. And I understand that, yes, she resigned, but I felt like she resigned because she was scared. She's only been teaching for 3 years. She doesn't know everything. But I do know that she did apply again to be reinstated. And I really pray that you guys reinstate her. There's very few teachers that teach from the heart. There's very few teachers that care for their students. And what breaks my heart is those are the teachers that I see the districts losing. And I don't think that is fair to our students. And I really hope that you consider, bringing her back. not just for next year, for the following years. She's done good for Weslaco. And if it's really true that you don't want to get rid of the mariachi program, why is it that when they get the attention, there's a new director coming in, when they make it to state? I ask you to please reconsider and please listen to the majority of students. If you have a fruit and there's one rotten apple in there, you don't throw away all the fruit. And because of one student or two that are complaining, that is not the majority. You have over 20 kids just in the mariachi varsity. And because of one student, it is not fair to the other 19. And I'm just talking about them. I'm not even considering the JV and the other schools that she goes to. So I ask you to please, reinstate her. She is an awesome teacher, and it would be a great loss to Weslaco and to our students. And my daughter has been through a lot. She was pulled out of class without my permission, without my husband and I being there, by two individuals from this district to question her about her teacher. And I don't think that was fair to her. And then they brought in consultants for state. And one of the consultants, and these are the kind of teachers that I see a red flag, told my daughter to keep a secret. And it might not have been a bad secret, but it was a secret nonetheless. She apparently showed my daughter's recording to somebody from a university, and that person said that my daughter, if she wanted into the university, didn't even have to audition, that she was automatically in. And then she said, but don't tell anybody because you'll hurt the others. I'm sorry, but a teacher that promotes secrets, it's not a teacher that should be teaching. And I've never had a bad feeling about Ms. Bravo. Ms. Bravo has never done anything to question me, have me question or anything. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And we now have Angelica Cardosa. State your name and address, please.
Hello, my name is Angelica Cardosa, and my address is at 513 Orchard Court here in Weslaco.
Okay, you have 5 minutes, ma'am.
Greetings, Dr. Coronado and members of the board. First of all, welcome Dr. Coronado to Weslaco ISD. As a longtime member of Weslaco and a product of Weslaco ISD, I am hopeful that with your leadership, this district will flourish once again. The past 2 years have been challenging for students, school staff, and families, and everyone has been affected in different ways. For our family, we lost a loved one to COVID at the beginning of the pandemic. Needless to say, our lives were turned upside down and we're facing many challenging issues. Our son, Alan, a very outgoing, intelligent, and well-rounded student, was now dealing with emotional issues that were affecting his health, his grades, his friendships, among other issues. When Weslaco ISD announced that students would be coming back to school in person, we were hopeful that some sense of normalcy would return. Our son Alan told us that he was going to join mariachi. We were excited for him as he loves music, and we prayed that this would help him feel a sense of belonging and assist him in recovering from the tumultuous year we had been through. As the school year began and progressed, it was evident that my son was growing exponentially in his knowledge of the violin. Seeing my son on stage representing our Mexican culture while showcasing his musical talent made me very proud. His success would not have been possible if not for his perseverance and for the guidance he has received from his mariachi director, Ms. Emily Bravo. Mrs. Bravo's expertise allowed for her to discover a hidden talent that my son had. I was in complete amazement when I attended one of the Mariachi Pantera's many performances and saw and heard my son singing a song for the first time. If it wasn't for Mrs. Bravo's encouragement and teaching, we would have never known that my son could sing, and in Spanish. Under Mrs. Bravo's direction, the ensemble received superior ratings at the Area UIL Mariachi Contest, earning them a bid for the state contest. It was a true testament to the hard work that the students and their director had put into their craft. At the state contest, the students and Mrs. Bravo gave it their all. They were not discouraged by the fact that they were going up against multiple consolidated award-winning groups from throughout the state. It is evident that Mrs. Bravo had not only taught them the art of music, but had prepared them to face the world and to keep their head up high. Now, as the school year is ending, we have been looking forward to their final performance at their spring concert. However, I am in complete dismay to know that Mrs. Bravo is not returning next year. In a matter of just a few days, our son has become emotionally distressed and is torn about next year without his director. After a successful year, it is disheartening to know that my son is no longer looking forward to it. The past few weeks have been difficult for us, and we have been having dialogue with him about the importance of finishing the year strong. Unfortunately, this is not a conversation that we should be having when we had made strides forward during this school year. As parents and community stakeholders, we expect the district to provide clarity on the mariachi program, provide a safe learning environment for mariachi children, provide a qualified director who is there for the students, or even 2 directors, so that we can match the other groups. We demand transparency on actions by the administrators and other staff when they came to questioning our students. Our mariachi children deserve to finish this year exactly how they started, with a sense of belonging, full of hopes and dreams for the future, and a sense of normalcy. Please do not take this away from them. They deserve better from Weslaco ISD and their administrators. And since I was here earlier for the workshop, I am going to mention another thing. I heard you speaking about athletic stipends, and I heard you speaking about academic stipend, but I did not hear a single word about the fine arts stipends, so that we can attract the best, just like you want to do with athletics. The fine arts have helped increase enrollment at Weslaco ISD, and I know that that is one of our goals. So let's support the fine arts. Thank you.
Okay, item 8, Superintendent's report. Dr. Coronel.
Board President and members of the board, before I get to my COVID-19 updates and enrollment, I do want to announce for those that are here that I will be having the meet and greet, the town hall meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the PAC, at the Performing Arts Center. So I prepared probably a 30-minute discussion about who I am as a person, as a man, as an educator, and as a veteran. So I invite the public and all of you to get to know, I guess, me a little bit more. You've gotten to know me here the last 6 weeks since I've been here, and understand that I have a kid-first mentality, and I will fight for what's right. So, but again, at 6 o'clock tomorrow, I look forward to meeting as many people as I possibly can. Getting to my superintendent report, COVID-19 updates. It's pretty stable. We're actually low in the valley. We've actually done well. Carlos, you can just go ahead and go through if there's any, and we can stop if you have any questions. You can go back to that slide, please. As you can see, we're actually pretty low considering the size of the district. This is what we've spent so far on the nursing side based on a grant that we received. So we still have a little over $1.2 million, so we've only spent 28%. We do have some PCR tests available, but they're set to expire here on June 6th. Our enrollment side, it's pretty stable right now, probably plus or minus 20 students at a time. We anticipate a lot of growth. I think we have 367 so far enrolled in our pre-K3 program, so that's not too bad. And I think we're going to make a bigger push. We talked about this morning getting out to Little League camps and HEB and all the other venues that are out here. We really control about 90% of the market, so we probably need to expand just a little bit more with where we're at.
I have a question, sir.
Yes.
On the pre-K3 program, and I know it's a full day, but for parents, when is the end time for the dismissal, I guess, for pre-K3? What's the dismissal time at the end of the day?
So I believe it's the regular 3:45? 3:45.
All right.
Yes, and we still have sites outside of Weslaco ISD. We still have 2 in Dana and 1 in Progreso. Yes. And all 10 campuses will have pre-K3.
So we're still working on those adjustments because we moved the time, so they'll start releasing about 3:45, but it'll be through that window, 3:45.
Okay, perfect. Dismissal time for pre-K3 for parents.
So our average daily attendance, again, we're creeping back up. We have a pretty aggressive method to, I guess, attack our chronic absenteeism. And you'll see that start roll out here probably in the summertime. Just real quick, I know this is an agenda item here, but I wanted you to see the surveys. This is what we received from our employees that have Blue Cross Blue Shield. Again, roughly about 82% agree with the coverage they're getting for Blue Cross Blue Shield. Our dental, again, about the same. And then our pharmacy is about the same. Little low for the pharmacy, and we can discuss that during the discussion item. So, again, subject to your questions, we did receive preliminary score results for the EOCs, and I'll send that to you first thing in the morning. Subject to your questions?
No, sir, I don't have it.
That's the superintendent report up online.
You good? What? You good? Is that it?
Item 9, consent agenda. Take a little time to look over the lengthy consent agenda. Then I'll ask to see if any of you want to pull anything. We good? Ready? Okay. Mr. Nieto?
None.
Mrs. Sustaita?
Yes, I'd like to pull item N1.
N1. José Trevino?
None.
Dr. Rodriguez?
I have none.
Mr. Los Santos?
I have none, sir.
Mr. Gonzalez?
I have none.
Okay,
I'll make a motion
we have a
to
motion.
approve the consent agenda except item N1.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Mr. Los Santos to approve the consent agenda with the exception of N1. Is there any discussion? Okay, let's take it to a vote. Signify your consent by saying aye or no if you don't approve. Mr. Nieto?
Aye.
Mrs. Sustaita?
Aye.
José Trevino?
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez,
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos,
Aye.
and Mr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, Mrs. Sustaita, item N1.
Yes, Mr. Cuellar, the reason why I pulled this item out, it's about backpacks and supplies. And I think that's great that the migrant program is wanting to use funds for the migrants to use backpacks and supplies. And so I was thinking, I know that I've seen other districts, this is just an idea for us. And I was speaking to Dr. Coronado about this. Maybe if our school, our district has the funds, which hopefully I think they are available, we could provide supplies for all the students, not just migrant students, but all students. Like Dr. Coronado said, inflation is at an all-time high since 1981. We're still trying to recover from pandemic. Everybody's needy, no matter if you're economically disadvantaged or not. It would be a great help to all the parents if we could cover the supplies going back to school for the kids. I know several, not several, but I know one other district here in the valley is doing it, and this would just be a huge help. So I did speak to Dr. Coronado, and he will look into it a little bit better. But I would really appreciate, and I know the parents and the community would really appreciate if we could cover the supplies going back to school for all the kids. And that's why I pulled it out.
We can take care of that.
Yeah, so I don't know if we'll take care of it, if migrant still has to buy their own, or if these funds, I know this is backpacks, which I don't want to include backpacks. Everybody has their own style, but at least supplies.
Yeah.
The school
yeah.
supply
At
list.
least just supplies.
Part of the discussion was lowering the school supply list because it's gotten out of hand. I think it's just too large, and the reality, this is my opinion only, but, and it's something we've discussed, is that it's our responsibility. It's a school's responsibility. People are already paying taxes. They're already contributing through that form, whether it's local, state, or federal. And I think that the supply lists have kind of got out of hand. And when you have a household that has 2, 3, 4 students, and each bag and each list it gets up there pretty quick. And other districts are starting then now, like the crayons, the glue. Those type of instructional resources, they belong to the school. That's a school district's responsibility, I think, at the end of the day. And I know that you're working on it, and I know you're restructuring the budget so that we're more student-focused and there's more funding going to the campuses for additional resources. And, but I just, I think that's something, yes, like I said, it's something we should all voice, that we should start moving forward in the same direction that other districts are doing, and making sure that our responsibility doesn't fall on parents.
Board President and members of the board, I agree totally. This has been challenged, actually, with school supply list under FAPE, because how can we ask kids to, or give parents to say, here's a school supply list, but then it goes against FAPE, which is free and appropriate public education. So that has been, that's being discussed in court as we speak. So many school districts can buy in bulk, and using Title I and so forth. There's a myriad of funding out there that we can use. And we need to maybe shift our instructional strategies, our practices, so that we can provide the supplies that they need anyway.
Definitely, and as a former classroom teacher, we need all the supplies. I know the list gets long, but the kids use them up in a matter of 2-3 weeks. All the crayons are gone, the pencils are gone, so they're definitely needed. And if we can do that, that'll be great. But I don't know if, the reason why I pulled this out, does migrants still want to spend these funds on buying supplies? The backpacks, that's a different cost, but the supplies.
I need to find out if it's a use or lose. So in other words, if we either use or lose it. So
Okay.
in other words, if we don't spend it, we may have to pay it back. So I need to find out for sure.
There's never an overabundance of supplies, so might as well just, okay.
And,
Hi,
and
Dr.
given
Coronado,
the-
I'm sorry.
the circumstances that,
Somebody's on, sir.
Oh, there's Ms. Cardenas, she's with the migrant.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't mean to, if I could interject, just to explain a little bit. If the district were to buy supplies, migrant wouldn't be able to buy them anymore because we can't supplant. It's considering supplanting. So just to answer your question, yes, if y'all buy supplies for all the students, then yes, we wouldn't be able to buy supplies. We could still buy the backpacks though.
Right. Good. Thank you,
Migrant
Mark.
funding is only supplemental,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
any district-wide initiative that's taken, then migrant can't, like she said, it's supplanting. So
Yeah.
that's the difference
Absolutely.
here.
And,
So, correct.
And given that we've had issues with things in general in this country where there's a shortage of, if we can, act on it whenever we can, as soon as possible, so that we do get what we need and not have to wait because there's a shortage of stuff. So something to consider.
Yes. Dr. Coronado?
Yes.
It's not on the list, and I know we really shouldn't, but look at the uniforms like that young lady came about doing away with uniforms. You know, the parent can go to Sam's and buy two tops, one short, and I know because we do it all the time. So just take a look. I don't know which direction you want to go. I know we shouldn't be discussing, but just letting
Yeah.
you know.
Okay, I got it.
Thank you.
So then, do we approve this anyway?
I'll make a motion to
Okay.
approve.
Okay, we have motion by
And-
Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Mr. Los Santos to approve
N1.
N1, backpack supplies RFP number 22-05-16. Okay, let's take it to a vote. Signify your approval, say aye when I call your name. Mr. Nieto.
Aye.
Mrs. Susaita.
Aye.
Costa Trevino.
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez. Mr. Los Santos.
Aye.
And Mr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Item 10, discussion items. Dr. Coronel?
Board President, you have with you, I guess I can say A and B, right? You have in your possession interim financial report for 8 months.
Yes.
And also the acknowledgement for the current tax and delinquent taxes. You have the report. Subject to your questions and discussion.
Just a discussion item, right? Our budget's based on 92, we're at 93, almost 94, and our budget on the delinquent is 10, and we're at almost 19, so we're okay.
We're okay. We'll be okay. We had forecasted 160 million in salaries, and we're going to be at about 142 when it's all said and done. So
Okay.
we'll be okay.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you for all the hard work you put into the budget. I know it's been a lot, so I just want to thank you.
I want to thank them.
And everybody else here.
I think all their hair got grayer since I've been here. So.
Except
And
over
Americo,
there.
so.
Except Americo. He doesn't have a gray hair.
You're right.
We've definitely taken a different approach to the budget as in previous years.
Coach.
Did he step up?
Okay, ready to move?
Yep.
Thank you, Dr. Coronado and
Staff.
item 11, discussion and possible action items.
Before we proceed, Board President, I'd like to remove 11D.
Okay. As per Dr. Coronado, we will remove 11D. Item A, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval to change or cancel the regular board meeting scheduled on July 19th, 2022. Dr. Coronel?
Board President, so we have a scheduled meeting, regular board meeting on June 21st, and we have it again on August 16th. The district is closed for 2 weeks in July, and it only allows 10 working days left between the board meeting and the I guess, the summer break. We feel that all the work to close out the year, to include passing the budget, we can do on June 21st, and therefore no need to have a July board meeting. And we can go back to just have an August 16th regular board meeting. And so my recommendation is to cancel the regular board meeting for the month of July.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Nieto and a second by Mr. Gonzalez to consider not having a regular board meeting for July. Do we have any discussion? If not, let's take it to a vote. Signify your approval by saying aye when I call your name. Mr. Nieto?
Aye.
Mr. Saita?
Aye.
Costeño?
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos?
Aye.
And Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item B, discussion and possible action for the board to consider a nomination from within our local board to fill a position on the TASB Board of Directors or endorse a nominated individual from another board in our TASB region at the July or August board meeting. Dr. Coronel.
Board President and members of the board, if you'd like to nominate someone to compete to sit on the TASB Board of Directors, or you can do nothing, and you can, there is someone running already for this seat, so it's up to the board on to take action on this one, or
Who's running?
do nothing. It is.
We can endorse somebody already on there?
Do we have a list?
Not yet. Okay, it says here, or endorse a
Sanchez,
nominated
Sylvia Sanchez.
individual.
Yes.
Sylvia Sanchez Garza.
Right, I would like to endorse, but it does say here, or endorse a nominated individual from
Yes.
another board, right?
Yes,
So we don't do that right now.
No, until we get the list.
I think in
because
August.
she's not the only one. Somebody else could actually be running between now
Okay.
and then.
Nobody here wants to do
So,
it? None of Coach Jesse, Marcos, Jackie?
I believe that the acting delegate has done a very good job for us and has represented us well, so.
Yeah.
So this would be on the June board that you can go ahead and endorse.
Okay.
If you'd like.
So it's not action on this?
So we won't take any action on this? Okay, non-action? Let's move on to item C. Discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval to upgrade the services for hotspots for the 2022-2023 school year to support learning recovery. Dr. Coronel.
Board President, we have 3,000 hotspots for the district right now. And so this is at no cost to the district. So this is using ECF funds. So basically, it just renews it for another year. They're good to have in the event that, let's say we have another strain or something else comes up and we have to do some remote learning.
I move
At
to
least we'll have
approve.
these available.
We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez to approve and a second by Dr. Rodriguez to consider the approval to upgrade the services for, no, for the hotspots. Okay. I got a little ahead of myself there, so. Do we have any discussion? Okay, let's take it to a vote. Signify your approval by saying aye when I call your names. Mr. Nieto?
Aye.
Mrs. Staita?
Aye.
Costeño?
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos?
Aye.
And Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Now we go to item E. Discussion and possible action for the board to consider renewal of the district's group dental insurance through Emeritus RFP number 20-04-18 or authorize administration to solicit proposals for same. Dr. Coronel?
Board President, this is the last year in the dental insurance program through Emeritus. Again, the survey that we showed during the superintendent's report shows support for the dental insurance. So my recommendation is to continue for another year for
Move to approve.
dental.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Rodriguez and a second by Mr. Gonzalez to consider the renewal of the district's group dental insurance through Emeritus RFP number 20-04-18. Any discussion? Okay, take it to a vote. Signify your approval by saying aye when I call your name. Mr. Nieto?
Aye.
Mr. Saita?
Aye.
Costeño?
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos?
Aye.
And Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item F, discussion and possible action for the board to consider renewal of Blue Cross and Blue Shield's proposal to administer the district's self-funded employee benefit program for the 2022-2023 plan year, or authorize administrations to list proposals for the same RFP number 20-04-16. Dr. Coronel?
Board President and members of the board, I'd like to recommend that we renew our Blue Cross Blue Shield proposal. This is another where we have another year. Again, the survey data supports that we keep the Blue Cross Blue Shield.
So move.
We have a motion by
Second.
Mr. Nieto and a second by Mr. Gonzalez for us to consider the renewal of the Blue Cross Blue Shield proposal to administer the district self-funded employee benefit program for the 2022-23 school year. Any discussion?
Just like Dr. Corrales mentioned that on the survey, a high percentage of staff members selected Blue Cross, that they were doing well.
Yes, I agree with that. Let's take it to a vote. Signify your approval, saying aye when I call your name. Mr. Nieto?
Aye.
Ms. Taita?
Aye.
Costeño?
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos?
Aye.
And Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item G, discussion and possible action for the board to consider renewal of the Arias proposal to provide pharmacy benefit management services for the district self-funded employee benefit program for the plan year 2022-2023, or authorize administration to solicit proposals for same RFP number 21-07-36. Dr. Coronel?
Board President, again, as you saw on the survey, this wasn't as high, but it's still, a majority still agrees to keep with the pharmacy benefit. So my recommendation is to keep this for another year.
So move.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Nieto
I'll second.
and a second by Dr. Rodriguez for the renewal of the Arias proposal to provide pharmacy benefits management services for the district self-funded employee benefit program for the plan year 2022-2023. Do we have any discussion?
Yes.
Yes. Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Marcos.
I had some questions. I was looking over the costs and the breakdowns, and I just had some questions for the director of insurance. Because there's just, or maybe you can answer, or if you want to, I know you like to go first, so. I'm going to go back real quick. It's July, there's some questions and some concerns. I had some red flags from the very beginning, but I just wanted to make sure that this is advantageous to the school district. I only ask questions because there's four categories that I care about, which is students, parents, staff, and then taxpayers. And this I understand was surveyed, and there was a 53% return that they didn't want to change the PBM. But I'm looking on the taxpayer side now, just to make sure that the numbers are actually advantageous to the school district and to make sure that we're not overspending, because I know that there is a deficit currently right now. Correct? From the information that was sent. And the reason I'm asking is because back in July of 21, July 6th, it was presented to the district on the PBM, and a lot of people don't understand what the PBM, what a pharmacy-based manager is in PBM and what their role is. And so I know Mr. De La Rosa asked for a workshop, he provided that, and there was some information shared prior to the July 6th meeting. And then we went to the July 6th meeting. I remember that when it was on the agenda and we were told that the rubric now had focused on transparent PBMs, what they sometimes consider like pass-through PBMs versus a traditional PBM, because you'd be able to audit the transparent PBM more than you would the traditional. And that was to make sure that we were paying the appropriate cost per medicines, et cetera, and that the savings, and that we're actually getting the rebates that we're supposed to receive. At that time, I did ask, I said, what are the rebates? And the rebates come in two forms. They come in credits, or they come into, I think, cash, right? Cash reimbursements to the district. And so I asked at the time, what is the reimbursement for Prime Blue Cross Blue Shield? Because, like I said, Blue Cross Blue Shield is a very large company. They're very well known through the healthcare industry. And as far as the PBM side is concerned, there's only 6 PBMs in the country when I was researching this that provide over 90% of the prescriptions in the country. Prime Blue Cross Blue Shield is one of those. So red flag was we're going from a very large company that probably has a lot of leverage, buying power, incentives, guarantees, et cetera, And we're going to a very small one, Oriya, which they hold a very, very tiny percentage of scripts that are written throughout the country. In addition to that, so we talked about the transparency and how that was a priority, because that automatically kind of, filtered our options. And then another red flag I had at the time was that before we were paying $2 with Prime, Blue Cross Blue Shield per script, and with Oriya we're paying $4. Okay, so at the time it didn't make sense, but I needed to research the topic more, and at the time we moved forward and we did. But at the time when I asked, I said, what is the rebates that we're getting in the form of a credit? Blue Cross Blue Shield was giving us a rebate in the form of a credit that was being applied to our medical costs. Administrative fees, right, yes. And I asked at the time, and they estimated the number was about 3 to 4 million at the time that we're receiving per year in credits. I know they said it was approximate, but that was in the minutes. I figured that was kind of high, but.
It's closer to $1 million.
To $1 million?
Yeah.
Okay.
Million and a half. I do believe we said 3, and it was a little high.
Yeah, I think you said 3 to 4, but yeah, I figured it was more like
it was a little high.
$2 million. And so my question is I saw that and I talked to Dr. Dino because I asked when I saw the numbers that were presented here in the graph that the net RX rebate right now at $75,442, that's just covering the first quarter return? Is that correct?
That is the first quarter of, actually the third quarter of 2021.
Okay.
So we have about a little over almost $600,000 in the fourth quarter of 2021 and then the first quarter of 2022 that are pending.
So how much total are we looking to receive back? That's the concern, is where are the rebates? That's why I was kind of questioning.
We're estimated right now, again, we have, and I have some data here. Let me put that to the sheet here. So the first quarter, again, was about $76,000 that we received in the check. For quarter 4 of 2021, they come up to about $254,000. And then for the first quarter of 2022, a little over $275,000. So we're looking at right now roughly close to $600,000 that we've already received, or actually over that. And we're still going into the last quarter of the year. So we're anticipating about $1 million we're going to get back into the plan.
And you're saying that's exactly the same as we were receiving through Prime?
Again, it's hard to tell because we don't know the actual money that's come in, and we're just getting a credit towards our administrative fees with Prime Therapeutics. So we're getting a credit towards our administrative fees. We don't know if it could be more, we don't know if it could be less, because again, it's just depending on, different formulary lists that they have, different rebates amounts. So long story short, I guess for the lack of your opinion, it's going to take about a year to determine whether the Prime Therapeutics was more advantageous, and then keeping the rebates in lieu of giving us a credit on our administrative fees versus getting the actual cash in the bank at the end of the day. So again, we're still on the fence with that, but I can tell you that our planned spend this year versus last year in the PBM alone, we're looking at almost a $600,000 difference in savings with Oriya than we did last year with Prime.
And with that savings, is that covering all meds? That's covering infusion drugs, the compound, like all the high dollar meds? That's covering everything. Like nobody's having issues nobody's having increased co-pays or having issues with that they're not getting the medications? You haven't heard of anything like that?
Anybody that gets a script is going to get their medication. Now, you're not going to walk into a pharmacy as a barely being diagnosed as a diabetic. You're not going to walk in with a script for Trulicity. No, they're going to give you metformin, and you're going to have to do step therapy and other cost-containing measures because Trulicity and all these other diabetic, all the ones you see on TV, they're very, very expensive, anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 a month for a 30-day supply. So as a recently diagnosed diabetic, no, I'm not going to walk into the pharmacy with a script for Trulicity, and that will not be approved. You need to go through you're going to start off with metformin, see how that works, and then eventually you'll get to a high-cost drug that the district covers either at a formula copay, which is $30, or a non-formulary, which is $50. So basis of formulary or non-formulary copays, your non-formulary copays are going to be higher because those are brand new drugs that are just on the market. They're more expensive, and they don't have the clinical, yes, they do what they do, but there's not enough evidence to put them on a formulary list. So people are taking expensive medications, yes, you're going to pay a little bit more for a copay.
I was looking at the cost because the RX cost, and I said, the RX cost only has a 13% difference at this time between last year's, between up to April 30th. So there's a 13% 13% spread. But in our claims, when we're looking at our claims and comparing claims, last year at this time, we're at 7.2 million with Blue Cross Blue Shield in medical claims, and here we're at 8 million. But I understand that some of that 8 million is COVID-19 costs, testing costs, et cetera. But just the numbers, I just had questions because our fixed costs last year were at 1.7 million, and currently right now they're at 2.6. So you have a 894,000, almost a $900,000 difference. So
Yeah, it's an increase. Mhm.
and that difference is because of what? Is it because of the loss of credit?
It's because of the increase in administrative fees through Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Yes, we're not getting that credit for the PBM, and also that's because of the increase in stop loss. We had to go, if we remember, we went out to bid last year, and we had to increase our deductible from our individual specific deductible from $125,000 to $150,000. So at the time, the Blue Cross stop loss was extremely expensive, so we had to move to a different stop loss company, which we're going to bring to the board for y'all approval to renew or go out to bid. So with the increased admin fees and, of course, the increased stop loss fees, that's the big issue right there that we're seeing, increased admin fees.
Yeah, because I'm not going to focus on the medical claims, because like I said, that has COVID-19 embedded in that, like as far as the testing.
It's not only COVID-19, but like Dr. Coronado mentioned, we're seeing skyrocketed inflation. So again, the hospitals, it's costing them more to get bandages, to get syringes, to pay people. So that cost is transferred to
My
us.
only question is, I don't want to lose money. That's my concern. And the way I see it is, what do you expect the fixed cost to end up at then, at the end of the quarter, compared to RX? In other words, you're saying that the rebates that we're going to receive from Araya, and then the savings and prescription costs are going to offset the loss that we're having in fixed costs due to credit?
Yes, that's the projection.
That's what
and
you're
that was
projecting.
the projection last year, yes. Now, could be more, could be less. I don't think we're going to see, a substantial difference is going to say, oh, this one's, greater than this one. But again, we are paying for, and you're absolutely correct. Araya has a very, very, small share of the market. But that's more advantageous to us, actually, because we're able to show that transparency. We know that we're paying what we get for, and that's what we're paying for, that $4 per paid claim administrative fee. So we're getting that transaction because PBMs are going to make money, okay?
No, I understand that.
Araya is making their money. They're telling us this is how much we're making. All the savings is passed through, okay? Where on the other side, on the traditional side, there's spread costs built in. So we're not necessarily, if we're being told we're reimbursing $110 for a script, in reality, we may have only cost them $80, and PBM's keeping the difference.
And what contract do we have a contract with? Of course, we have a contract with Araya. And how much are we giving up as far? Are we getting 100% rebate
Yes, sir.
return? We're not giving any percentage away.
That's in the contract, yes, sir.
That's in the contract. Okay. Because there's companies that they audit these things for free. They charge for free, and they'll go and look to see whether we're actually getting the proper rebates and the amounts, and they don't charge anything.
It all depends on what the rebate of the drug is. So Trulicity may be $30, $50, I can tell you right off the top of my head. But those are also contracted. The rebates that we get are contracted versus the networks that they participate in. But really, they're almost all the same. And rebates are really a fancy way of a bribe. I mean, we're going to reimburse a pharmacy benefit manager money to prescribe this drug over this drug. So that's just, unfortunately, that's the way the market is. It's not really fair. There's been attempts to correct that legislatively, but
Yeah.
we are where we are.
It looks like a cat and mouse type situation. The cat's always telling the mouse to get closer, so that way we can take a bite. And that's why, like I said, I researched it. In traditionals, I saw that traditional PBMs were more advantageous because they are more aggressive and offer higher rebates, of course, and guarantees and whatnot. I just want to make sure
They keep them, though. That's
Yeah, I want to make sure our deficit, because I know we have a deficit and we have to add to it. I hope that once COVID-19 is over and we move forward with Araya, that
Yeah,
we don't see.
and I have some information on that. It's, not as bad as it seems. This is probably not the item to discuss this as far as our plan funding, but we will be, Dr.
Yes.
Cardinal and I will be discussing this and bringing back a different item in June to adjust the funding to our plan for next year.
All right. Okay. Mr. Gonzalez?
Mike, I know we have listed here Shepherd Walton King, but is it Hub or Shepherd Walton King?
Well, it's actually Hub Shepherd Walton King for the next item, sorry. Are you talking for this item?
For this item.
No, there's no agent for Araya, for the pharmacy benefit manager.
Agent?
No. For that. Did I miss something?
Or Nancy?
What letter?
This is, but this is something.
Oh, this is the next one.
It's the next one.
Go ahead.
I have one more question, but maybe kind of something with, not pharmacy maybe, but the COVID testing that we have over at the high school, is that going to keep on going until next year? I know that some of the tests were going to be expired soon or something. What's going to happen with that, with that curative? Are we still going to keep them on?
Yes, we have a contract with them until the end of May. Okay, so we'll probably, re-up that contract, but it doesn't cost the district anything to have curative out there. They bill insurance companies, or they bill Medicare, they bill Medicaid, but it doesn't cost the district anything to have
Oh,
that
okay, I thought I
vendor.
had seen ESSER funds, something about ESSER.
But that's for local doctors and they were giving tests.
Yes, the ESSER funds that we're proposing to cover the COVID costs are for the tests that were covered through our Blue Cross and Blue Shield program. So if I went to the doctor and got tested, insurance pays. So we're going to recoup, or try to recoup, or we are going to recoup all the money that we paid out of the health plan for testing and medical.
And that's
claims.
already been allocated.
Right, it's already been allocated,
Right.
okay.
So at the end of the day, just to wrap it up, you're saying that the lower prescription costs, the cash rebates that we're going to receive are going to offset the increase in fixed costs?
The rebate, that's what I'm anticipating, yes. And again, it will take a year to notice or to get more data, at least to the end of this plan year, so we can, get an apples-to-apples comparison. And now we know.
And Mike, and how's the specialty pharmacy working out? Is that aspect of it, any problems with that?
There's about 3 or 4 different specialty pharmacies that are utilized. So just to give you all an idea, when we talk about a specialty drug and the cost, I had that here somewhere. Anyway, we have chemotherapy medications that some employers are taking upward of $15,000 to $25,000 to $30,000 a month. And these go through specialty pharmacies. You can't get them at Walgreens, you can't get them through, your local mom and pop PBMs. Because of their specialized, they have to go through there. So I haven't had any issues or anybody complaining about that.
The stop loss applies to the specialty pharmacy also?
Yes. The stop loss applies to all drugs. So the individual specific deductible of $150,000 is medical claims and drugs as well.
Thank you, Mike.
Any other more?
And this is, Dr. Coronado, you said this is for 1 year, correct?
That's it.
Right.
And then we can go out for an RFP next year.
Okay.
Any further discussion? If not, take it to a vote.
What are we voting for?
Raya.
Right.
Are we good to go, Jeff? Okay.
Yeah.
Signify your approval by saying aye when I call your name. Mr. Nieto?
Aye.
Staita?
Aye.
José Trevino?
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mr. Dos Santos?
I'm going to abstain.
Abstain. And Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Item H, discussing a possible action for the board to consider renewal of the district's professional errors and omissions insurance, or authorize administration to solicit proposals for same RFP number 20-08-31. Dr. Coronel?
Board President and members of the board, I'd like to recommend that we renew our professional errors and omissions insurance and not go out for an RFP at this time.
So move.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Nieto.
Second.
And a second by Dr. Rodriguez for us to consider renewal of the district's professional errors and omissions insurance. Any discussion?
Yes. Now, Mike, is this Hub or Sharper Walton?
It's now Hub.
Okay.
Shepherd Walton King was.
They got bought out. Okay.
Yes.
Just want to make sure I could participate, that's all.
Okay. Okay. Let's take it to a vote. Signify your approval by saying aye. We'll call your name. Mr. Nieto.
Aye.
Mr. Staita.
Aye.
Costa Trevino.
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez.
Aye.
Mr. Dos Santos.
Aye.
And Mr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item I, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval to set a meeting date for the public hearing on the budget and tax rate for fiscal year 2022-2023. Dr. Coronel.
Board President and members of the board, we need to set a public hearing date for the budget, which I recommend as June 21st. That will be our, when we propose our budget, and then the tax rate for August 16th, and to adopt the tax rate.
Move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Dr. Rodriguez and a second by Mr. Dos Santos to have the Public hearings on the June the 21st and then on August 16th. Do we have any discussion? Take it to a vote. Signify your approval by saying aye when I call your name. Mr. Nieto.
Aye.
Ms. Streita.
Aye.
Costeño.
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez.
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos.
Aye.
And Mr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Item J, discussion and possible action for board to consider approval of administration's ranking recommendation for the running track improvements project at Bobby Lackey Stadium, RFP number 22-06-21, and two, to authorize administration to negotiate and approve the contract. Dr. Coronado.
Members of the board, or board president, I'd like to recommend that we use, I believe it's Banyan, is that Banyan?
Bainan?
Bayan? Okay, there we go. It's ranked number one in the rank to proceed with the track improvements at Bob Lackey
I move
Stadium.
to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez
Second.
and a second by Dr. Rodriguez to approve the administration's ranking recommendation for the running track improvements at Bobby Lackey Stadium, RFP number 22-06-23. Do we have any discussion? Okay,
I have
okay.
several questions on this. What are we, how many times have we replaced this track since, I guess before this one here? I guess this is the second time we do this in the last 7 years, at least, since I've been here. Is that correct?
Coach, if I recall, when we did the turf
Mhm.
at the stadium, they didn't do the foundation. So the
Just the
company,
surface.
I think it was just the surface. It was Field Turf that did kind of what we have at East Field Turf.
Mhm.
And I believe that's who this company is, Field Turf, to do the whole base.
Yes, but this is for the running track.
Yeah, but the base of the track was never done. If my understanding is what I was.
Good evening, members of the board, Coach Cuellar, Dr. Coronado. Yes, that is correct, Mr. Gonzalez. It was just the surface that was done. It was back around 2017, I want to say, about 5 years ago. But it wasn't, we didn't touch the base, which is the asphalt. It's an asphalt base. That wasn't touched at all. It was just an overlayment on top of the track.
What did
piece.
that cost us back then?
I want to say, but see, that was thrown into the project with the field. I'd have to look at it. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I can look at that and put on the update.
I guess my concern is, the real issue here is the flooding, correct? Is that what caused the problem last time, and that's why they had to replace the surface, resurface it at that time?
The thinking is, since we can't see the asphalt right now, the underneath the top layer, the thinking is that since it hasn't been touched since it was done back in the I believe it was 2008 or 2009, then we're thinking that there's already damage to the asphalt. And so that flooding, it just exacerbated the problem. And so it started, bubbling up or lifting the existing track. And so when we called the warranty in for that track, they would come in and show us, look, this is deeper. This bubble is just coming in from deeper underneath the asphalt, the base, than just the surface, which is what they had applied. So it was a combination of warranty repairs and actual repairs that cost us money. And so that's why we're suspecting, we're adding an alternate to look at the asphalt. And we broke it out that way to see, we're suspecting that we're gonna have to take it, we're gonna have to replace the asphalt. But we added it as a separate cost item, which in this case is $113,000 added to the base bid. So we don't have to take it, and we don't have to replace the asphalt, we save the 113. But we're suspecting we're gonna have to.
I noticed this is a significant price difference. And obviously, you got the Austin company. Is this company out of Maryland going to subcontract this out? Or, because, it
Yes,
just
they
doesn't
do,
seem
and
cost effective.
One of the subs that they've disclosed that they use is Mid-Valley Paving, a company out of Mercedes. They're very reputable. They've done several projects for us as well, including some field turf that they've done. And they did the east side, the visitor side parking lot for the stadium as well. So they use that subcontractor to work out here.
So is this Mid-Valley Paving, are they doing the track itself too, the surfacing of the track as well?
No, my understanding, and, they're just doing the asphalt, right. And then they get
But there may not even be any need for the asphalt or depending on the damage on the base itself, there may not even be any need. I'm just concerned, this is a big price difference, and I want to make sure we're getting our money's worth. Hellas is a known company for facilities, turf, tracks, and so forth. This other company, it's just, I find it odd that it's almost a $300,000 price difference, and they're out of state. If I was out of state and I'm bidding somewhere out of state, I'm gonna go ahead and bid out all the traveling expenses, so forth. So I don't understand. I have a concern with that.
If I may, what he's talking about, I'm looking at the bids, the alternate bid, it's significantly, and I'm wondering why. When you have the alternate bid and the alternate bid 1 and 2, one of the companies is, can I say the numbers of how much he charged us or no? Can I say that?
He did already, I think.
Oh, I can go into numbers? Okay, because one of the, and the alternate bid too, and here's a huge price difference. One company is charging us $50,000, and then the other company is charging us $500,000 for the same, why is there such a huge price difference?
Well, and it's the way they submitted their pricing.
Wow.
So
okay.
500,000 is actually saying we're replacing what we gave you as the base bid with this cost, and that includes the alternate, or the actually higher quality product that they're proposing. So again, to explain the whole project, we're asking for a higher quality track. We initially requested a base bid track, which is a multi-layer product that they offer, and then we asked, okay, also tell us how much it's going to cost if we get your higher quality option or product. And so Biden said, you just add to our existing cost $50,000, and that's your higher quality product cost, right? And Hellas, what they said was, okay, substitute the cost for the product that we gave you under the base bid with this cost, and that is the cost for the higher quality product. So it's the way they submitted the pricing.
Sir, were these sealed bids?
Yes.
I asked at the last board meeting we had, I don't think Dr. Coronado was here, that for sealed bids, when you brought them to the table, I asked that the companies that are brought, your top 3 ranks, I wanted to know when exactly they came in. Like if there was 15 applicants, if your number 1 was number 5, or was it number 15? And I don't think it's on here.
We did.
For sealed bids, yeah. Remember we talked about that one meeting, and we said, hey, for sealed bids, I know you stamp them, but I wanted to know, when did they come in? Did they come in first, second, 10, 12, 13? We
can provide that information.
But I don't see that on here.
Yeah, and I apologize for that. I know they're received at our business office, and they get stamped there when they get received, but we can provide that information for you. There's only those 2 companies that submitted the bids.
Oh, okay. Only these 2?
Only
the only one?
those 2 companies submitted bids, right.
Yeah, and I'd like to see who was first. Was
Right.
Hella first, or was Bainon first, or, that's all, just to see when they come in, whether
We can
it's 2,
certainly
10,
provide that
12.
information.
Amerigo,
Yes, sir.
is there anybody else in the valley that has this same track?
Yes, there is.
Biden and Hellas are usually the top 2 competitors that do the tracks. Donna has it. They just got theirs last year. Our track coaches went to Donna. And PSJ North, they have Biden too, but they have the upper tier track. So our track coaches visited Donna, and they were very comfortable with what Donna has currently right now.
So everyone had a chance to check them out and
To sample the product.
Yes.
One of the other things that I'm looking, it's going to take about 90 days estimated if you would go with Bainon. When would this start, or the track isn't needed? I don't know when this would even start, during summer,
We're projected to start June 1st.
Okay.
And the contract, well, it's around 70 days. We discussed this with the company. So worst case, we want to get it done before August. That's our goal, before football season starts. Worst case scenario, we'll start it, and if we need to stop, we can stop, and they can come back and stripe it at the end after football season, or just complete it. But that's been the common situation with other districts, that's what they'll do.
Okay.
They'll halt it, and so we won't disrupt the football season, and then we'll come back and finish.
I know
the
summer
season.
track will be taking place
Summer
there
track
then.
is gonna be at East High School.
At East, okay.
What's the warranty that they have?
10 years.
This is right there.
10 years?
10-year warranty.
Yeah, the base bid product is 5 years, and the higher quality product is a 10-year product.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and Hella says 5 years for both products. There's no difference. And if I may, just maybe it'll offer some clarification, Coach Trevino. Bynum has been known to do a lot of work with Field Turf, and Field Turf is a well-known manufacturer of turf, artificial turfs in the industry. So I don't know if Field Turf.
Okay. No, to me, it's just, to me, if I have a chance to make an extra $250,000, I sure will. But this right here is just a big price difference. I still have a hard time grasping this price difference.
The only thing, and that would be speculation, the thing we can think of, because the higher cost came in with the alternate, which is the asphalt. And so it could be their subs and the cost that they got from their subs. That's the only thing we can think of.
And then with the flooding, did the flooding damage this track at one time or another?
And again,
Because I know it floods terribly there
Right.
in that corner of Westgate and that other street there.
Yeah, so we're thinking there was already damage underneath the track, the asphalt. And so the flooding didn't help, and it just made the problem worse. Now, we have, and we're hoping we don't get any major storms, between now and the time that the City of Weslaco is working on regional detention facilities. And one of these facilities is going to be at the Peña City, Old City Park, and I apologize for the name, but Pablo Peña Park. And so they're going to be working on that within, a year and a half or so. And that should alleviate a lot of these problems as well.
So that's just my concern is moving along with this project. And, I mean, we don't want to leave things up to hope because of the storms around here.
Coach,
And-
remember that workshop we went to with the city?
Mhm.
The one with the B Garza project?
Yes.
So part of the flooding that was explained to us was to alleviate the flooding on the frontage road, the Westgate area, because that gets really bad, was having that detention pond that we said
That'll
yes
be
to, and we
good.
expanded it, and then they fixed their drainage or their pipes to connect where Paisano and Peña and all those streets get really flooded to move that water out.
But when is that going to take into effect?
They're already working on that.
Okay. I would hate to, a year down the road or a year and a half down the road, hey, we had another big storm, hey, we got to replace the track again. And to me, it would be counterproductive.
Yeah, so.
When was the last time they replaced the track over at East?
That was before the 2017, back in 2012, I believe.
2012,
yeah.
what's the lifespan? I mean, I'd like to just see, if we're doing for one, let's do for the other. Let's get a maintenance program or something going, because it can't be just one school,
Right,
and that's how it's been the last few years since I've been.
We're looking at that project, Coach. I did talk to the track coaches also from East, and they said that not that we're not going to do it, but the track is still good.
Okay,
That's why,
okay.
yeah. And I did talk to Coach Owens and Coach Davis, which are the track coaches. at
Okay.
East.
And that's a field turf field is what Coach Burgett had mentioned years ago, before we did that one, that he was really pleased with the practice field that East had.
Yes.
Even though it cost us a little bit more to put field turf at the other stadium. But the longevity that they've had, because I think it's gonna go on 10 years already. So,
Yeah, but they do a great job of really
maintaining.
taking care of that field turf over there.
And not that we need to add more to the cost of things, but what are we going to do with the track at Central?
Well, we need track at the middle schools all around, not just Central. So that's a long-range plan that we have also.
yeah, I did.
Yeah, we've been
That's why I
discussing that, so it's not just Central Middle School, at least they have something, right? But, other schools, the other middle schools don't have anything.
Yeah.
So that's part of the projects that we have.
I only asked because the last time that I was there, saw it, and it's been a while, to me, it was more of a safety issue. I don't want to see anybody going out there twisting ankles or tearing anything up, because we didn't take care of a huge pothole or anything like that.
I think
It's
that's
just
why we
something to look
closed
at.
it off, Coach, because of that concern. And then the city built that walk around the other park, Rodriguez Park. They have that walkway now, and I think that's when we closed it, because people would go at night to go walk.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's a liability.
But the question is, Mr. Gonzalez, have we done anything to fix what we had? Because I know that we have two schools that go there to practice or use it for during track season, or has that been stopped?
No, they're still going there, Coach. So the goal is to eventually have 4-lane tracks at all the middle schools. That's what we want to do. But yes, it's not in the best shape. Maintenance had to go this year and patch some stuff up. But, there's a lot of facilities that we still have plans for. And slowly, several at a time, we'll get them done. So, including trying to turf the baseball and softball fields.
Mm-hmm.
If I may, we just got this information from our purchasing director, Mr. Valde Garcia, to answer your question, Mr. Los Santos. Ellis came in at 10:56 a.m. and Bynum came in at 12:30 p.m., both on the same day, April 28th.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Okay.
Thank you.
Let's take that to the vote. Now, we're voting on part one, right? Because we still have to look at the administration's
Recommendation.
negotiation to, so let's vote on one. Let's take it to a vote. Signify your approval by saying aye when I call your name. Mr. Nieto?
Aye.
Mrs. Sustaita? Costeño?
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Now for the part two. Authorization of the administration to negotiate and approve the contract.
So move to approve. I thought I was making it for both, but move to
Okay,
approve
well, I just
as
want to
recommended.
clarify to make sure that, we're gonna, okay, let's vote on that.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a second by Dr. Rodriguez. Do we need to, we've already covered a lot during the discussion, so let's take it to a vote. And signify your approval by saying aye when I call your name. Mr. Nieto?
Aye.
Costeño?
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. We now go to item K. Discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of a procurement method of construction for the HVAC improvement projects district-wide. A, board determination of a procurement method of construction that would provide the best value to the district for the projects. B, board determination to retain the authority to rank the proposals to be received for this project, or board delegation of their authority to the administration to rank the proposals to be received. And C, approval of criteria and points to be used for ranking the proposals. Dr. Coronel.
Board President and members of the board, our campuses are in need of a new HVAC system. ESSER allows us to use funding to put in HVAC systems for fresher air, cleaner air, more modern systems. Our systems are dated. So what the recommendation is that we use a design-build method of construction. So in other words, go out for an RFQ, solicit the qualifications, and then go out for an RFP, so that we can get the HVAC at, I believe it's all campuses. Is that correct? Right.
I'll move to approve administration's recommendation on the design-build method of construction, and to delegate administration's authority to rank the qualification statements, and approve the criteria and points to be used for ranking the qualification statements.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Dr. Rodriguez to cover all the items on this agenda item. Dr. Rodriguez?
Yes, sir.
So we're going
Yes,
to
sir.
cover everything here, and we have a second by Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do we have any discussion?
Yes. I have questions.
Yes, sir.
What is the total cost project, how much funding is being allocated to this initiative here? Like, how much are you planning? Can we, well, wait, we shouldn't talk about that. Or-
So
Like, I'm
nobody knows.
just worried about the dollar amount. I know we're moving fast. I don't want to, I know ESSER funds end in spring of '24. You have to, everything has to be completed by spring of '24, correct? That's according to ESSER?
Yes, but the way we're going to split it up is.
September of '24, right?
But
Paid
we're
for
going to
and
use
completed.
part of ESSER 2 and part of ESSER 3. So the reason we're trying to move on this one is because we want to be able to use ESSER 2 first. And we have allocated funding already for ESSER 2 and 3 for this. I don't know if I should say that amount
Yeah,
because.
no, you don't have to. We don't want to say that. Yes, because then you shoot yourself in the foot.
Yes.
I already don't like the process, period, because
Yes.
it's engineers throw out numbers already, and so that kind of, of course, that affects bids. I mean, in the previous ones that we've done, we've discussed total project cost, things like that, the plan design.
Yep.
And it's just, I just want to make sure that, that we're within ESSER and we do complete construction and that we don't end up, getting stuck with the bill at the
Yes.
end and an
Absolutely.
expense that we can't have. And then, so with this method here, with the design, I just want some more information. How does that work, the
So
design?
the RFQ initially, sir, is the request for qualifications. It has no dollar amount. It just,
Right.
they basically have to sell us on who they are.
Right, and this is an engineering firm? Or a company that's going to actually install the AC systems? Or how does that work?
It could be, it could be a general contractor, it could be an ESCO. It really depends.
Just
on-
any company that can then
Right.
subcontract, et
Right,
cetera,
and then
whatnot.
once we approve a list of the, once we receive the RFQs or the vendors, then we can determine or negotiate based on an RFP to actually bid on the actual job.
And who's gonna come up with the rubric to assess these companies?
I guess that comes out of Americo's office.
Is that like do you have like a consultant
so-
specialist, or how do they come up with the rubric?
The criteria
The criteria.
to rank the RFQ bidders is included the agenda. So you're approving that as part of this process. Right, and so the RFP process has a different criteria, slightly different, and so that one is going to come to you once we bring you the RFQ bidders. Or the
Well, I saw
bidders.
this, but I didn't know this was actually the criteria, because it says personal qualifications 30, but based on what? Like, that's what I mean, like, is this the one you're talking about here? This one?
Yes, yeah. So it's very general because, again, we're not asking for cost, we're just asking for the
We're not asking
qualifications.
for bids.
Right, and so we're just comparing their experiences and similar projects that they've done and references and so forth. And so we ask for information specifically underneath that table. There's a breakdown, or at least a description rather, of each criteria. And so we're asking for that information. And we rank them, or you rank them, should you decide to rank them based on that.
So they break it down.
I believe the motion was for administration to rank them, correct?
Yes,
Dr. Hyde?
admin.
Yeah, it was for admin to rank them.
Yeah.
And so these proposals, are they also going to be submitted, like, are they sealed also, or how's that work?
For RFQs,
No,
it's
it's just
not-
general, yeah,
right.
it's just the qualification, no dollar amount.
Right.
The second portion is the
second
seal.
portion
Oh,
is
okay.
the correct, right.
Oh, okay.
We
I
accept
know.
them all sealed.
All right. No, you answered my questions.
And during the second portion, we will have to work with them to get us a cost because of the ESSER funding requirements. Federal funds require that we do set a contract based on cost.
So how are they going to assist you with that? Are they going to, like you said, they're going to put it out there for proposals, sealed bids?
Right.
And who's going to get those, the firm or the district?
No, we
You get them,
we
right?
get 'em.
Oh, okay.
We make that selection.
Oh, okay.
And then they can
Thank you.
timestamp.
On the design build part, if I may add a little bit, is to narrow the group to at least 5.
Okay.
If we had 7, we cut it to 5. If we wanted 3, all 3.
And I'm just curious about the sealed bid process. Who received those? I know you said business office, but who in the business office gets
Purchasing
them?
department.
How are they secured? Those type of things. I never asked, and I'm curious.
Yeah. The
How does that
receptionist
process-
receives it, the receptionist receives it,
Mm-hmm.
and they mark the time, the date they come in, and they
Okay.
give it to the purchasing department.
Oh, okay. And he puts them like in a safe or what?
No.
Oh, no, just there, just
No,
there.
his
Okay.
office.
Oh,
They're
okay.
sealed, so at the time of opening, and anybody can attend this
No.
events,
All the
then
people
they
that
know
submitted.
that they're being opened for the first time, yes.
Oh, okay. All right, sir. Thank you. Appreciate all the information.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Got a motion for item K, A, B, and C. Let's take it to a vote. Signify your approval by saying aye when I call your name. Mr. Nieto.
So moved.
Staita.
Aye.
Mrs. Staita.
Aye.
Jose Trevino.
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez.
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos.
Aye.
And Mr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Now, we did have a motion, and we did have a, okay, so.
Yeah, we did.
Mr. Nieto,
Yeah,
are you,
no.
are you messing with me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. It's all good. Item L,
Reading.
discussion and possible action to approve the
Oh, you said yes.
district to become members of the Texas High School Clay Target League and allocate funding in accordance with current funding policies. Dr. Coronel.
Before I mention this, Board President and members of the, it is really nice to see all of you smile. Thank you. So, yeah, the board meetings that I watched prior to me getting here, but it is really nice and it's very enjoyable to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shots fired.
All right. Speaking of shots fired, all right, here, so,
Good segue right there.
this is, I lost my train of thought, and all I have to do is read it. I'm just recommending that we become members of the Texas High School Clay Target League and allocate funding in accordance with current funding policies. This is a UIL activity and an Olympic sport, is clay shooting. So we just have to, this allows us to legitimize our current shooting team.
So moved to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by
Andrew.
Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Mr. Nieto.
Correct.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded.
Correct.
Do we have any discussion?
Thank you for bringing it. Dr. Coronado, I know I had reached out to Board President to put it on prior, but, we have some great kids that really compete, and me having a son that actually competes, and I get to go see the other schools, and I'm like, why can't we do it? And Mr. De Los Santos why do we always have to wait on somebody else to do it first? And I know Sherry has one student that shoots, but that's it. But here we have some great shooters that have competed and have won scholarship monies. So to that, depending on how we vote, I'd like to thank all of you.
And I know I discussed it with Mr. Gonzalez, and we've all discussed it, in some form. I just wanted to ask for the public, because they're going to hear about the topic and the direction that we're taking, but what safety precautions are put into place? Because I know that's going to be questions that I'm probably going to get as far as when we open this up. How does this operate? Where does it take place? And what kind of safety precautions are put into place for student safety and also for, like I said, even learning how to operate a weapon? Even as an adult, sometimes people don't understand, how to, safety procedures, how to hold the weapon, et cetera. So how does this work?
So once we become members, there's actually training involved for the instructors. It's gun safety and so forth. And, for off the record, I have a federal firearms license and I'm a licensed to carry instructor as well. So if they need any assistance with that, I can assist with that.
That's great.
So I volunteer for that. And no stipend either, so.
There's another one.
See, sense of humor, folks, okay.
It's already part of the.
All right.
And our current, and one of our ag teachers is already certified as well.
So basically, the hardest part about this one is the range requirements and where they shoot and the location. It just has to be formalized and authorized, and we can make sure that those, now this is approved, we can allocate the funding to make sure that range is actually safe and there and done.
Right, and this is the range.
And just so that y'all know, as parents, and those are parents that are watching as well, just a case in point, most student athletes have to attain at least, it's about a 30-minute safety course class prior to them even being allowed onto the range. At least at the national shoots, that's how they do it. All our local shoots, basically the same way, whether you go to Coyote Arms or you go to the ones further north of Edinburgh. But there's always a safety class kind of before, especially with the student, with the UIL ones, when I take my son and his friends to go to the San Antonio, the number one thing is gun safety. And, just so that y'all are aware of it, and I'd be more than happy to share videos of when I've taken my son and some of the other parents that have taken these videos to share along with y'all.
Now, along the lines of safety training, I know that before you ever go on a hunting trip, when you get a certain age, that Texas Parks and Wildlife requires hunter education. So is this kind of the same kind of training that they have on?
There still is a process that our students are going to have to go through. It is formal. It's if you join any type of activity, athletic activity, or even our own academic, that you have to know the rules of the game. And so that's what, and all that is part of this process.
And this is a volunteer basis. This is with parent consent, and firearms are being provided by the parents.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
The school district is not providing any of
My
that.
question, because of funding, I'm thinking funding-wise. I know you said, okay, we'll have volunteers, but you're going to need funds from somewhere. We're going to take them from somewhere to give to here, right? So, but I'm thinking, okay, we have mariachi over here who can't even afford to buy strings or can't even afford to buy instruments for their, mariachi kids, but yet we're taking funds to give them to another club. I just want to make sure that it's equal, that we're meeting the needs of everybody, and I understand.
Fees and membership fees per student is based on the parents. Isn't that?
And that's what I was about to ask. How is this going to work? Like, kind of like at, let's say, like FFA, where you're kind of in charge of your own thing, or how is it going to work?
So it's still an activity. It's still a student activity. So we still allocate funding for that activity. Now, I don't want to get off topic here regarding the mariachi thing. The problem with the mariachi one was that it was underfunded through the band. So in other words, we need to create our own funding source or allocate funding source for the mariachi program separate from the band. That's the reason for that. So that's an easy fix. So we can do that. This would be the same way. We allocate funding for this just the same way we will do with the mariachi program.
Or any other,
Or any other program.
There are a
Right.
bunch of other ones that need
Like,
funds.
And that sponsor would have control over that funding.
Okay.
And I think that was the same kind of like for the Conjunto initiative, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to be separate from
Yes.
band.
Right.
And the kid, this wouldn't be like during the day kind of class, it would be an after-school activity or something?
It's still an activity, extracurricular.
Okay.
Or, extracurricular or co-curricular based on FFA.
Right.
I think, is Sherryland the only other district here in the valley?
They're the only ones listed as members,
As
and they have
members.
two,
They
they
have
have two
one,
campuses.
they have one shooter. We have one at Weslaco East, and we have about 7 at Weslaco High. And all of them are really, really good.
So we're looking at about 10, 15 kids at the most
For now.
for now.
For now, once we start allocating funding for this, and again, we can operate any program with the number of sponsors, just like anything else. We can solicit sponsors and partners to support these as well.
And I think one of the things, like, to answer Ms. Hustaitis' question, is we're joining the association as a school district.
That's correct.
Yes, that's what we're doing. And rather than the kids going independently and playing, I'm sorry, not playing, but competing, they will be, representing the school district when they go and compete.
So right now, like,
It's going to be off
our
campus.
students at High, they go under Weslaco FFA.
Right.
Right. Yeah, no, I understand that. What I'm saying is, but he answered my question. Where are we going to get the funding from to fund? But everybody, this is going to have its own little budget or fund.
That's why we're cutting all the coaching stipends. No, I'm just kidding. So-
And that's why you're going to,
See, you
teach
gotta
it.
have a sense of humor up here, I'm telling you. So.
Yes, you do.
You said you're going to teach it.
Well, Dr. Coronado, you said each campus was going to work their own budget,
Yes.
so
Right.
that will come into play.
And based on their activities, yes.
Correct.
Student-based funding, right?
Yes.
Correct.
And it starts in middle school, high school? When does it start?
FFA starts, they have junior FFA
You
as
gotta
well, so we
be
can start
8
there.
years old or in 2nd grade.
So if I want my kid to do it, I have to go buy the stuff they need, and then they'll take part.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they
that's
go
what I'm saying.
through
We're not buying-
training. We're not
That's
doing
why I
any
want
of
to make
that.
clear to the public, we're joining the association so that they can compete under the
Right.
Weslaco ISD name. But parents are paying fees, parents are buying equipment, parents are buying firearms, parents, all that
Just
is,
buying the membership.
Yeah, and it's free, but, I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's free. Okay, well, that answers another question. It's a free membership, okay. Because usually not every membership costs something.
And Texas Parks and Wildlife is really a huge supporter of the association.
And all FFLs, believe it or not, donate to
Yes, sir.
all of these things. I know because I donate every year, so.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, take it to a vote. Signify your approval, saying aye. Mr. Nieto.
Aye.
Mrs. Susaita.
Aye.
Costa Trevino.
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez.
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos.
Aye.
And Mr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item M, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of the Weslaco ISD compensation plan for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. Dr. Coronel.
Board President and members of the board, I'd like to recommend that you adopt the compensation plan minus the academic and athletic stipend schedule.
Move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Mr. De Los Santos. Do we have any discussion?
Yes. Looking over this, what is this called here? I mean, it's a compensation plan, but the actual policies or the regulations in the compensation plan, it does talk about incentives and stipends. And one of the biggest concerns that I've had since 2 years ago was with these travel stipends
The gas.
the gas stipends that I don't see anywhere in here
Because we-
as a stipend.
Because we took them off.
No, well, it wasn't ever in here before. Like a stipend, there was stipend lists, and it was even before you were here, Dr. Coronado, that there was no travel. It's reimbursement. You put your mileage in, you get it paid back. But that gas stipend or travel stipend, it's not in here. So I just want to make sure that we are following what this policy says, and that if you are going to be demoted or promoted, that we're following what it says, because a lot of times, people get moved here and there, but keep the salary. Or there's a lot of things in here that I want to make sure we follow this.
And I agree, because she's right. There are cases where people have been demoted 7 years, years ago, and then they kept their salaries. Has all that been addressed, and has all that been looked at?
So yes, it has been addressed. Because this is a new year for this, the recommendation is that the people will be placed into the proper grade and category. However, the standard practices is that everybody gets that 1 year, right, basically on the district before they migrate to the correct salary. But that, which is standard practice in most districts. We talked about the athletic stipends and making those cuts, and that didn't go very well. And so, right now, I don't even want to go about touching the actual employees' salaries. Right. So I'd rather just recommend that we go with the compensation plan as presented, keeping employees' salaries the same for this particular year.
Yes.
Yes, we don't want to touch their salaries. We just want to make sure that if anything happens during the year, like reassignments, that we are actually following our policy.
Yes.
And it's just to reaffirm that those issues have been identified. Because I know you just came on, but we already talked about them with I can't say this is a HR team because it's not the same one, but we've discussed them before with the previous leadership here, and that there was issues, and those things affected morale, and people knew about that throughout the district, and where people were demoted from years and kept their salary. So we just want to make sure that before we move forward, going into 22-23, all that's been looked at and all that's been identified, and there's an action plan.
And there are some salaries that exceed the job pay grade that we're going to have to be able to adjust.
Thank you.
Another question, Dr. Coronado. I know it was before you were here with us, but there were a couple of positions on the compensation plan that we were trying to get fixed up and, cleaned up that didn't exist. But then I know that we had said maybe they should stay there because it's kind of set aside money that we might need somewhere encumbered. Did we clean up the compensation plan to get rid of those positions, or they're still there? I haven't.
What we did with the compensation plan is actually we made the pay grades more generic. to allow for
like you talked
discretion. So in other words, we had an assistant superintendent for elementary, we had assistant superintendent for business services, and assistant superintendent, all this other stuff. Now it's just assistant superintendent. So this is your pay grade. So that allows us that if we need to change a title, and they have an assistant superintendent, then that's their pay grade.
Flexibility.
Right. So it just allows us that, because it locks us in. When you make something that specific, you really have, you know, we're coming back to the board just to change a position or a title, and that it really doesn't allow room for growth.
I guess I'm looking for it specifically because I remember seeing it. Is there still an athletic assistant director?
No.
That's already not here, okay, because I didn't see it, and I wanted to make sure that,
Yeah, because usually like districts, they'll have the, like you said, standard generic pay scales, and then they'll have the list of all the individuals that are hired in the district, and then they'll have their numbers, whether they're 101s, et cetera, 102s. So.
Yeah, we've really, I would tell you this, the compensation plan has been, I've been here 6 weeks, and we have been working on it for 6 weeks. And so it has been, I have to thank Megan and Dora Lisa and Dan. I don't know if you did a whole lot with it, but, you know, just. But I know Dora Lisa and Megan have worked. I called Dora Lisa on Sunday, and she said, "Oh, I'm in the office," because I had. She goes, "Oh, I felt horrible that she was in the office on a Sunday." But this has been a chore. This has been a heavy lift for us. It needed to happen. But it right-sizes the district, and you can see, even with a 3% pay raise, even with all the other things that we're bringing to the table, we're still below what we spent in salaries in 2020, 21, 22, and forecasting in 23. We're still below, so.
one more question, Doctor, from some teachers that have asked me. There are some, I guess it would be here, the instructional coaches that we're going to be using. There already exists instructional coaches, right, at the campuses? So are we adding 2, or is it?
So what we've done is, so we had ITCs, instructional technology coaches. So now we have, we've done away with that title and just called them instructional coaches, because now we can pay for them out of Title I. And what we did was, we've removed the SIFs. So even when I got here, I didn't even know what a SIF was, and I come to find out it's an assistant principal, right? Well, they deserve, they have the certificate and the credentials to be called assistant principals. Right. So we remove them, which means they have to be paid out of the general fund. But then we were paying for ITCs with various funding. So what we've done is we've done it correctly now. Okay. Our administrators are going to be paid out of the general fund. Our coaches are, and we should have 2 coaches. We've allocated 2 coaches. We've already allocated funding for every campus to have 2 coaches, and that's state comp ed. State comp ed, not title, I'm sorry. So thank you. That's why he's there, right? So just to keep me on my toes. But so we're going to use state comp ed to provide 2 coaches. Now, it'll be up to the campus to determine, I want an instructional coach, or I want a literacy coach, or I want a numeracy coach, but either way, they're coaches. So,
any type of instructional coach that the campus
that the campus needs or wants, based on their budget.
Right, which they'll be in control of.
Which they'll be in control of, right?
You know,
if they,
sir,
yes.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, if they only want 1 coach, which I wouldn't recommend, but they can pay for 1, but they'll be allocated for 2 coaches.
Hence why we have those open positions right now.
That's correct.
Okay.
That is correct, because right now we only have 20 coaches on the books, or 18 on the books? Yes.
We're adding an additional 16.
Okay.
So each campus can have up to 2.
Up to 2 coaches, yes. And again, we think we have 27 excess, well, we have 20, the recommendation was that 27 teachers needed to be absorbed.
Right.
Imagine that. Now we're going to be able to absorb these by expanding our coaches. So now our teachers, some of our teachers have an opportunity, right, internal only, to become coaches.
Right.
Yes, that's exactly it. Okay.
You know, I just want to commend you and the HR department for publishing this form online and to increase transparency, the compensation plan. I know you said that you've been working on it for 6 weeks. I've been here 18 months, and it took me a year to get it, and I'm a board member. So, yes, go figure. But I really do recommend you all for posting that, because it's part of transparency, it's part of showing everyone kind of where we fall, what the skills are. And also, I know that in the past, people had told me, well, we don't want to lose leverage, et cetera, but I think you gain leverage by showing people what we're paying. We've been paying, we're a top paying school district here in the Valley.
We are.
And with the pay, though, of course, is the requirement of excellence. We pay well, but we also have expectations. The community has expectations, and that's something that the staff also needs to know, that we'll increase salaries as much as possible. We'll pay for qualifications and expectations, but in return, the community, because I've heard it too, and they're supportive of that. They want to have high quality instructional materials. They want to have high quality instructors in the classrooms, and we're going to have to pay for that. But we're also going to, in return, the return on the investment is academic excellence. And so that's something we've been talking about everything else but that, and that's the final requirement as well too, because you just talked about scores that are coming back. So I think that's something we need to look at in the future. Yes. Thanks.
I do have one comment on here. I don't know if it would be here or where it would be. I know we give the teachers, is it 5 days, 5 local, 5 state days whenever they're absent?
5 and 5.
5 and 5.
Can we look at removing the $40 fee that we charge a teacher? Where does that money go to? We charge a teacher $40 for an absent, whenever they're going to be absent. What is that? I know you're
There's a fee for take
Well, they
days?
take it away from you.
I've
So-
never heard of that.
I would like for us to look at, I don't know what, I thought maybe it would be here.
The policy?
It's in DEC, so it's in our local policy, so it would just be a matter of
Modifying it.
the policy and
Modifying policy.
Okay, that's.
Wasn't it like
If everyone's in
$25?
agreement, I've never heard of a charge to
$20?
take your days.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been there, and I think,
And if you take a half day,
I know other
it's 20.
school districts don't do it. So.
Yes.
Really?
I always took half days.
But we can take care, well, I can recommend that we can take care of that.
Oh, okay.
So-
Okay.
Figure it out.
Yeah, we'll take, I'll have that in the June 21st meeting.
Okay, good.
One more question, I just ran into it. The teacher incentive allotment, the TIA, I know a lot of teachers ask me, they've been working hard on that because I see it all the time in our updates, the TIA and all these meetings they're having. How does the teacher get certified through the National Board certification to be qualified to receive this money? Because if I recall, I think one teacher from Weslaco East got it last year or the year before.
Right.
Yes, I remember only one, and I just thought this is an awesome opportunity for more teachers to get more money, but why is it so difficult to get this, or what are we doing to help them?
It's a long process to be nationally board certified
Okay.
teacher. And so that's just but one pathway to qualify for the TIA, for the teacher incentive allotment. The other pathway, we are cohort E. Cohort E for the teacher incentive allotment, and that training is forthcoming. And teachers, we brought in MAP already, and that which is will be the benchmark for growth. But then teachers, I don't remember what the amount, but that money has already been allocated to the district. We just basically had to apply for it. But I think the after the year, Tier 1, I believe it's $7,000 in addition to whatever they're making here, and then it tiers up based on the growth percentage.
I think there's three tiers.
There's 3 tiers.
Right.
Yes. So some teachers, there's teachers across the state making 6 figures.
Right.
Based on performance. But it's all performance-based.
So that's why each school is listed here, and then it says recognized exemplary master, because if you're at that school and you're recognized as one of these teachers, either recognized or master, they'll pay you that much?
That's correct, and it follows with you. So let's say you've earned your TIA here, but then you leave to another district. That money follows you.
Right.
So it follows the teacher. It doesn't follow the district.
Right.
The district is allocated for it, but the money actually follows the teacher.
The person.
The person. Yes.
Okay.
So they get that identifier for the rest of their careers, no matter where they go. That district's going to provide
Right.
that.
Because we have 2
Right.
in our district that came in,
Right.
and we paid them. So.
And just federal for the
State.
Just to see.
Do we know if we have more teachers who are going to qualify for this other than one? This
I don't
upcoming-
know the status
You don't know?
on that right now.
We have one teacher that transferred in that is nationally certified, so that makes 2 that we have within our district.
Oh, okay. there's my answer too.
Good evening, Dr. Coronado, Coach Cuellar, members of the board. So for 22-23, we're in a data gathering year. So we're going to set all the baselines, all the benchmarks throughout this entire year, and there still is a lot of training that goes with it. As we get into 23-24, that's when our teachers will be eligible for some of these TIA funds, again, based on success of our students. And again, it's tiered out and everything that goes with it. But the first part is this coming year is the grant year. April 15th, basically 1 month ago, more or less, that was when our Cohort E application was due and turned into Region 1.
Okay. So until 2023 to 24 is when we'll
That is correct.
see it. Okay.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
And teachers already know that, right?
Yes.
Dr.
Because
Coronado?
we've been having regular meetings with teachers,
Okay.
and we do have to have an advisory committee that is formed
Right.
with teachers to set up, the plan and the criteria.
Correct.
And again, the structures are based on the demographic of the campus, so it also depends on the campus that they're
Right.
at. But you need this data gathering year to be able to establish that growth.
Correct.
So this first year is where they're going to set that baseline. And then the next year is where we'll start to see those growth trends and where they'll start to qualify for those events. Yeah.
The key behind this is there's a lot of stakeholder engagement. So we're gathering a lot of feedback from our stakeholders. So we want to make sure that this is a collaborative decision-making process with all our key people within our district.
Okay.
Thank you.
My next question, I'm just scrolling down, I'm sorry. I see bilingual education stipend. I saw online that we had a dual language principal position open. I said, yay. So are we doing this? How is this going to work with a bilingual?
So
It's online. I saw
Yes.
it. It's public.
So we are we're going to choose 4 campuses that are going to be the future home of. And one of those campuses is going to be a dual language academy. It is going to be a magnet. In fact, you approved some of the references in the consent agenda. And so we're starting that process to create a dual language academy. And then we're going to start 2 STEAM academies. And then we're looking at a middle school to be a fine arts academy.
Right.
And it's going to be this upcoming 2022 school year.
So this 22-23 school year will be their planning year. So we'll get the banner saying future home of, and it'll be their planning year. It allows the principals time to assess their staff, figure out who wants to be there, who doesn't want to be there, who wants to go there, but really kind of do that planning year, and then we go full-fledged in 23-24.
Okay.
So, but a lot of people, when we start announcing the future home of, we think that will start to attract a lot of folks, increase enrollment. People will want to be on the ground floor of that.
Okay. And the reason why I'm asking about this stipend is because I know that I had heard about some legislation, how we had to have bilingual students placed together and not,
The program, the program changed its, it's not, I don't think it's legislation, it's the program requirements
Oh, I
changed
thought it was
within the,
legislation. I
yes.
thought it was a law.
No.
So, is this going to affect any of our stipends here?
No.
Okay.
No, it shouldn't. And again, we haven't received any of the academic stipend studies, which is the fine arts academic study and so forth. And so we'll have those agenda items for June 21st. We'll finalize the athletic and the academic, which is the fine arts and the department heads and so forth. And so those 2 stipend studies we'll have for you on June 21st.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? If not, let's take item to a vote. Signify your approval by saying aye when I call your name. Mr. Nieto?
Aye.
Mr. Staita?
Aye.
Costeño?
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos?
Aye.
And Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Motion carries. Go to item 12, closed meeting to discuss A, personnel matters, Texas Government Code 551.074. 1, discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation on certified professional personnel. 2, discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation on resignations, retirements of certified professional personnel. 3, deliberation regarding the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, Texas Government Code 551.075. 551.074 and 551.071. A, discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation for the position of Assistant Superintendent for Teaching, Learning, and Innovation. B, discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation for the position of Assistant Superintendent for School Leadership. C, discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation on the reassignments of professional staff based on the new organizational chart. And B, consultation with attorney regarding A, pending or contemplated litigation, B, a settlement offer, or C, a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the Weslaco ISD under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code 551.071. The time now is 9:16, and we will go into closed session. Now it's 10:17, and we have reconvened in open meeting. Item A, possible action if necessary on items discussed in closed meeting. Number one, discussion of possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation on employment of certified professional personnel. Dr. Coronel?
Board President and members of the board, I'd like you to accept my recommendation for the employment of certified professional personnel as discussed in closed session.
So moved. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Los Santos and a second by Mr. Gonzalez. We've had the discussion in there, so let's take it to a vote. Signify your approval by saying aye when I call your name. Mr. Nieto?
Aye.
Mrs. Susaita?
Aye.
Costeño?
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos?
Aye.
And Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 2, discussion and possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation on resignations, retirements of certified professional personnel. Dr. Coronel?
Board President and members of the board, I'd like to recommend you approve the resignations and retirements of certified professional personnel as discussed in closed session.
So move.
I have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez and a second by?
Second.
By Mr. Los Santos. Take it to a vote. Signify your approval by saying aye when I call your name. Mr. Nieto?
Aye.
Mrs. Susaita?
Aye.
Costeño?
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 3, discussion and possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation for the position of Assistant Superintendent for Teaching, Learning, and Innovation. Dr. Coronel?
Board President and members of the board, I'd like you to accept my recommendation for the position of Assistant Superintendent for Teaching, Learning, and Innovation.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Mr. Los Santos.
Second.
Second by Costeño. Let's take it to a vote. Signify your approval by saying aye when I call your name. Mr. Nieto?
Aye.
Mrs. Susaita?
Aye.
Costeño?
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos?
Aye.
And Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 4, discussion and possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation for the position of Assistant Superintendent for School Leadership. Dr. Coronel?
Board President and members of the board, I'd like you to accept my recommendation for the position of Assistant Superintendent for School Leadership as discussed in closed session.
Motion to approve?
We have a motion by Mr. Los Santos.
Second.
Okay, we have a second by?
You can get
Good,
it.
Jackie. Good,
Okay,
Jackie. Good,
Mrs.
Jackie.
Susaita? Let's take it to a vote. Signify your approval by saying aye when I call your name. Mr. Nieto?
Aye.
Mrs. Susaita?
Aye.
Costeño?
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos?
Aye.
And Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 5, discussion and possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation on the reassignment of professional staff based on the new organizational chart. Dr. Coronel?
Board President and members of the board, as discussed in closed session, it's my recommendation for the reassignment of professional staff based on the new org chart.
Make a motion to approve?
We have a motion by Ms. Saita,
Second.
second by Dr. Rodriguez. Let's take it to a vote. Signify your approval by saying aye when I call your name. Mr. Nieto?
Aye.
Mrs. Saita?
Aye.
Costeño?
Aye.
Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos?
Aye.
And Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 14, adjournment.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. The time now is 10:21, and we are adjourned.
Hey, have a good one.